What you brand new, yeah, it's time to go pro. Go beast mode, better find a cheat code. On my throne, now I'm in my zone. Man, it looks better than it did before. I said the play don't stop, just do your thing, and you know you gon' be on top. It's my game, it's your game, and let the whole world watch. I said the play don't stop, just keep it going, and you know you gon' be on top. It's my game, it's your game. Go ahead, let them talk.
Let's go.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the decider day of AMD SKYESPORTS Grand Slam. It's the semi-finales, and not just semi-finales, but the last day of semi-finales. But before everything, before any kind of discussion, let me just introduce myself. This is me, Darshita, along my co-caster, and with this we do have our gaming partner Logitech G and our broadcasting partner Loco. So Raider, how are you doing now?
I'm pretty amped up to see that what eventually the final day is going to bring for us right now, because this is the decider day. This is it. I guess this is the do or die situation coming up. All the teams are going to get only 4 matches to play. So eventually, Darshita, I guess this is the day. This is the day when we are going to see those top 10 cream teams which are going to compete in the grand finale.
I am really excited right now. I mean, just what happened the previous 4 days just got me so excited that right now the level of competition is just going to go on increasing. I mean, right? The top 5 teams are all set. They are really pretty confident on the side that yes, they are going to qualify, as they just have rackled up n number of points for themselves. But on the other hand, the next 5 teams, that's from 6th to 10th on the leaderboards back there, they are into a nail biting situation. If one match eventually doesn't goes into their favor, and the next team it does go into their favor, it can cause a lot of problems. So yeah, there are multiple situations right now. What can be happening, what cannot be happening. I'm just pretty excited to know right now which are the top 10 teams that are going to qualify for the grand finals of AMD SKYESPORTS Grand Slam that is starting tomorrow onwards.
Well, of course, there are too many variables taking play at this moment, because we don't know that how these 4 fights are going to be there for each and every team. Well, of course, let me remind you about the whole semi-finale situation coming up right now. So yeah, guys, we had quite a few teams which are coming to into the battle right now. But top 6 teams from the quarter-finale were qualified into the semi-finale. Then eventually we had 18 more invited teams into the group, and they were divided into 3 groups of 8 teams each. So with that, we had a total of 3 groups, 24 teams divided separately into three groups of 8 each. Eventually 30 matches were there in the total span of 5 days, and each and every team got 20 matches to play. I guess 16 matches for each and every team has been over. Now we are going to witness the last final 4 matches and 6 more matches. Let's say 6 maps will be there, but the groups will be divided. So eventually each and every team is going to get only 4 matches per day, or let's say last day. This is the final day, so they are going to get only 4 more maps, 4 more matches, 4 more carnages day, 4 more carnages fight to be exact, to see that which is going to be the leaderboard table topper and which team is going to be the one which is going to compete in the grand finale. And when eventually we talk about the grand finale, the hype as well did. Eventually in the grand finale, you are going to see some good faces coming up. Teams like Soul, teams like VLT, formerly known as IND, teams like Cayman, 7C Esports, TSM, and you are of course going to see these other teams which have actually occupied their carnage in the SKYESPORTS previous Grand Slam tournaments, or let's say championship tournaments, or any other thing going on in the SKYESPORTS.
I do agree with that. I mean, these top 10 teams from here will directly qualify for the grand finales, and there the 6 teams are just waiting for them. Just a warm welcome is, what we have been awaited for. And don't forget, guys, the grand finals, the journey of grand final is going to be a long 7-day journey. a tiring one, but at the same time, it is going to be really, really exciting because after after just working hard for straight 7 days, what are you going to get? Well, I mean, you do have that question, right? What are these teams going to be getting after working so effortly?
Of course.
So let me answer you with that. It's about pride, it's about victory, it's about pleasure, it's about being the champions of AMD SKYESPORTS GRANDSLAM. Moreover, a prize pool of 15 lakhs. There you go. A total prize pool of 15 lakhs is what we do have, and the champions get a huge amount of 8 lakhs for themselves.
What a victory, what a prize pool, and the bragging rights of Grand Slam, winning the Grand Slam and eventually getting 8 lakh rupees for the winner, for the champion of the Grand Slam. But eventually, at the runner position, you are going to get 3 lakh rupees INR, and eventually, if I talk about the second runner up, you are going to get 1,50,000 rupees. Hashtag 4 will get you 50,000 rupees, hashtag 5 and 6 will get you 25,000 rupees each. The MVP of the tournament is going to get 1 lakh rupees massively, and eventually, if I talk about the most finishes one, the teams with most finishes, they are going to get 50,000 rupees. I guess, Darshita, that's a great split coming up for the teams, and that's a great spirit which is going to rise into their mindset.
I do agree with that. I really loved the prizes, the individual prizes we do have right now. I mean, yes, a team performance is, something that is really needed at this point of time. But moreover, when you individually are able to perform, when you
Yeah.
individually are able to give your best, you do get rewarded for that. And that's the best thing, that I really liked about the overall prize pool distribution. But alongside that, we do are going to have our point system. That's going to be a primary point system that we usually see. That's the chicken dinner, the delicious chicken dinner that you get for you and your team. You're gonna get rewarded with 15 points for that. But if you're on the second position, you get 12. The third position gets you 10. But that's the end of 2 digits and the start of 1 digit. That's the fourth place gets you 8. The fifth place gets you 6. 6th place gets you 4th. But the 7th place, it's just gonna get you 2 points. And the point of concern rises now when you are from the 8th position and so onwards, because you are just going to rackle up 1 or 0 point for you. I mean, just 1 point or either no points for yourself. And the only point that you can be dependent on is the finishes. That's 1 finish and 1 point that you get.
Of course, it's going to be very interesting to watch that which team is going to get the most number of points at this moment. But eventually, if I talk about the whole group split coming up, look at that. Group A is going to consist of 2 quarter-finale qualified teams. That's going to be Team NTT Gaming and Team Insane Esports. The other 6 invited teams are going to be as like OR Esports, Revenant, Team EXO, Rivalry, R Esports, and eventually Celsius is also going to show their faces in the lobby right now. If I talk about the group number B, we have 2 qualified teams from the quarter-finale. That's Revenant Esports and Team Mayavi as per the qualification. And eventually, if I talk about the invited teams, that's going to be Team X-Park, Hyderabad Hydras. If I'm not wrong, that's going to be Team Revenant. Other than that, okay, we also have some other teams coming up. That's going to be Orangutan and Team Blind also coming in the battle. But eventually, if I talk about group number C, well, there we go, Darshita. We can see that 2 of the qualified teams are there. That's going to be UDOG India and Team Nugget.
6 qualified teams and the rest invited teams. What a great competition it is, right?
Yeah.
You get an opportunity to play with so amazing teams. Well, talking about Group C, it's 2 qualified teams will be UDOG India and Team Nugget, whereas the next 6 invited teams are 8-Bit Tactical, Skylightz Gaming, Enigma Gaming, Team Forever, and Marcos Gaming. That's just a split of Group A, B, and C, and that's the split for the last day, guys. I mean, the last day of semi-finales. And from tomorrow, we get to the top 10 teams amongst these phases only, right?
Oh, the point table. Well. We have got the point table, guys.
Right.
After match 24, the standings are here right now. We all were waiting for this. Eventually, we are waiting for the first flight part to come in. But before that, we have Team Orangutan reigning the party at this moment with 215 points. The only team which has crossed 200, the mark of double centuries at this point, that's going to be Team Orangutan. But we have another sneaky climbing coming up. That's going to be Team NTT with 3 chicken dinners. That's good for them. They have going on the aggressive end, but eventually they have to rack up some more position points. After that, they will be able to get the leaderboard table topper stats at this point. They have got 199 points for themselves. Team Celsius Esports, meanwhile, getting 1 chicken dinner. But look at the number of position and number of, let's say, flags they have got. Eventually, even after getting only 1 chicken dinner, they are able to get 174 points and they are at the second runner position at this point.
I do agree with that, and I would really say it again that this is the only reason we just keep on saying that depending on one side is not everything you do. Look at this, right? Team Celsius, they just got one chicken dinner for themselves, but after being so consistent on their position sides, they are just on the third position, whereas Team 8-bit, who managed to get two chicken dinners for themselves, are on the fourth position with a total of 161. I mean, yes,
Yeah.
the consistency is good. 84 finishes, 81 for position, but you got two chicken dinners. So eventually you have to be somewhere up and up. Onto the other sides, if we talk about the 9th and the 10th position, it's reckoning with a total of 139, and Rivalry on the 10th with a total of 132. A single point difference is what Team Insane has right now with the sides of Team Rivalry. And trust me, this is just after match 24. If by any case the same things happen after match 30, it can be really, really disheartening for one single team. I mean, just imagine, right? One single point difference wouldn't let you qualify for the grand finals.
That would be really very interesting to watch, but eventually the teams which are going to lag out from the lobby, well, they are going to face a very good dismay. But eventually, if I talk about Team Insane Esports, they have got a good standing at this point. They have got 11 #11 position, but they have got 131 points. Look at that. Team Rivalry Esports and Team Insane Esports already getting matched up at this moment with only 1 point. But eventually, if I talk about teams like Revenge Esports, teams like UDOG India, which are barely holding on to the second page of the leaderboard, well, they have to actually rack up some seriousness and gain more and more points. Teams like Hyderabad Hydras are gaining their pace eventually in the lobby with 2 winner chicken dinners. But eventually, if I talk about Team Enigma, they have got one good chicken dinner, 125 points for them. But we still have some teams like Rivalry Esports, Insane, and Team Forever, which have not got the winner chicken dinner. But still, either they are getting close to the qualification or they are in the qualification mark at this point. So of course, these are the teams which are going to aim for the winner chicken dinner. But eventually, let's talk about the whole #17 to #24 leaderboard stats coming up. We have Team X Park barely crossing the margin of let's say century, coming up with one good chicken dinner. Team Marcos Gaming holding on to their position at #18 with 86 points. Team Line Esports 83 points for them. Team Tactical Esports eventually got one good winner chicken dinner in the day number 1 of the semi-finale. But after that, look at the form going on. Only 75 points for them. Team Revenant with 0 chicken dinner, 60 points for them. Older Esports 46 points. OR Esports 44 points. And Team R Esports from the past 4 days, if I'm not wrong, are chilling at the same position.
This is the point of concern, right? I mean, looking at the 17th to 24th position, we do have 3 teams who got 1-1 victory for themselves. But what's next? I mean, getting one for yourself, I do agree that will completely boost you up to be the best at the next match, but that's not happening. You just got one for yourself and still you are at the last side of overall standing. And today's day is the last day, and I am really scared for these teams here. I mean, yes, they do got a chance. They just got 4 chances, if I'm not wrong. It's just all the groups playing 4 last matches for themselves, and you just got last chance. If you're not able to do it today, my friend, you won't be able to do it. It's just the regret that you will be having back. Yes, I do agree that you get to learn a lot of things after playing straight 5 days of semi-finales. But eventually, if you are able to qualify for the grand finals, you get to learn more and more there, right?
Yeah, eventually best of the best cream of the lobby will be there eventually in the grand finale. You can see that teams like Soul, teams like VLT, formerly known as IND, Godlike will be there for you guys. Team TSM will be there, Cayman will be there, 7C is going to be there. So of course, top of these teams and eventually top 10 from this lobby, which is going to be the semi-finales lobby, are going to be there battling it out for 7 straight days, 42 straight matches coming up very, very soon, eventually from tomorrow. But yeah, before that, this day is going to be full of energy. This day is going to be full of pressure for the teams which are going to play. So let's see how these teams are going to deal with the pressure, how these teams are going to gain the pressure into their perspective, muster the courage which is going to be there. It is going to be very interesting to watch eventually, but the main thing I'm concerned about, it's going to be that which are the top 10 teams. But eventually we have got the top fragment coming up. Oh, look at that, look at that, look at that. Finishes, most finishes going to be in the hands of OG Pehchan Kar. Well, Ash is also once again in the top fraggers list. That's interesting. Two members from the same team are coming up here right now. OG Pehchan Kar, 39 finishes for himself. Contribution for the team is going to be 44%. Team NTT Gaming is going to let Troy come up for the fight for the top fragger position. He has got 39 finishes. That's great. Finish contribution is going to be 42.51 at this point.
I mean, Team Orangutan and Team NTT are not just fighting for the really first rank on the overall standing, but eventually we do see some individual fights going on, right?
Yeah.
Both of the players, they got 39 for themselves, but it's just a difference of point like 2 point some percentage in the finish contribution. On the other hand, Exopunk there with a total of 32. That's insane. Neo with 31 and OG Ash with 29. Two players from the sides of team Orangutan are just proving themselves in the top fragger list there, right?
Indeed. We already saw Ash doing a 1v3 onto Team Celsius from the backdrop bridges. It was very interesting to watch. The moments which these guys have created, well, that's literally awful at this point. But eventually, if we talk about teams like Team Entity, OG, Pechankon, well, of course, Darshita, you said this, eventually these teams are trying to battle for hashtag 1 and 2 in the leaderboard also. And here also in the top fragger list, they are battling it out for the, let's say, 1 lakh rupees prize pool, which is going to be there for them also. But eventually, if I talk about Team EXO, look at the sneaky climbers coming up, and from Insane, we have Neo demonstrating the carnage for Team Insane. Well, that's interesting to watch that how Team Insane's roster is going to eliminate and get into the top 10 points at this moment. Because because if we talk about Team Insane, well, they have got only 131 points if I'm not wrong, if I remember it correctly. So yeah, they are lacking behind with only 1 point from the team which is getting qualified. So let's see, is it possible for them to get qualified at this point? Because now only 4 matches are going to be there. It's going to be interesting to watch that how the battle is going to form from this location. And of course, the map schedule is also here for you guys. So match number 1 between Group A and B, and it's going to be the map of Erangel.
A classic map, right?
Yeah,
we always do call it the classic map, but for today's day, the decider day, I mean, I do call it a decider day because we got that top 10 faces decided today itself. So yeah, the decider day will comprise of Erangel and Miramar repeating itself thrice. Just imagining the situation brings a big smile on my face, but at the same time, it's just like a point where you are scared to just imagine what is going to happen next, and somewhere we do have mixed feelings going on. If what if there's just single point difference between two teams? What if you are not able to perform when you are able to perform the last 4 days, but not that good on the last day? Oh, there are so many what ifs going in my head right now, and so audience, I guess that's gonna be for you. But yeah, talking about match schedule, aim to be the very first map, the classic map of Erangel that we are going to witness any moment now. But the next map upcoming, it's going to be Miramar. That's just going to be repeating once again and once again there.
I guess that's your favorite one, but eventually if I talk about the map number 1, that's going to be between group number A and B. So teams like Revenant, EXO, Rivalry, R Esports, Celsius Esports, OR Esports, and we also have 2 qualified teams coming up from that angle. Well, that's going to be teams like, let's say, Entity Gaming, and if I'm not wrong, it's going to be Insane Esports too. So yeah, of course, let's see how Insane Esports is going to rack up the seriousness and teams like Entity Gaming is going to climb or not. Well, that's a major concern for me, but of course, another contestant is going to be there from group number B. That's going to be Team X-Pac, Hyderabad Hydras, Reckoning Esports, Old Road, and the leaderboard table topper at this point, Orangutan, is going to be there for you guys. Team Blind coming on the drop down areas of, let's say, leaderboard's 3rd page, but let's see how they're going to bounce back. If we talk about 2 qualified teams from the quarter finale, that's going to be Team Revenge Esports and Team Mayavi. Of course, both of the teams are trying their real best. Team Mayavi, meanwhile, maintaining their top locations in the top 10 at this point, but let's see, is there some other team which is going to snatch their position and eventually grab their host, and eventually they will be there right now. That's a major thing to watch, because the aggression, or should I say the whole gameplay from Team Mayavi, is getting a bit average at this point, but eventually we are going to see all the teams trying to outperform all the other teams in the lobby. So yes, we are going to get the top 10 faces which are going to qualify, but I guess for all the bottom 14 teams which are not going to be there, I guess that's a bit sad moment for them also.
I do agree with you completely. I mean, yes, we have been talking about the top 10 teams since the first day of semi-finales, but on the other hand, yes, I do want the teams right now that are at the bottom of the list, I mean those who are not even able to cross a total of 50 for themselves, I really wish them to give their best today. I mean, yes, I do agree with the fact that they won't be able to qualify no matter how hard it is, as it's just 4 maps that you are able to perform on today's day. I know it's really difficult for them to qualify, but on the other hand, if you take it into a really positive way, you get a satisfaction after just crossing a specific number. It's just like, okay, I at least have tried my level best, right? I
Indeed,
at
that's the
least
thing.
have crossed 75. I at least have crossed 100. I just gave my best on the last day. Eventually, if we are not able to qualify, we did something that we wanted to. And that's why I do have my eyes on teams like our esports OR, who are not on the second side. Even I really wish that yeah, just give your best. I mean, yeah, thinking about future is not something that you would do right now and just spoil whatever you have. Give your best, and I just wish to see them crossing a specific number at least.
I mean, if they are going to think about the future and getting qualified, it's going to put a lot of pressure onto their mind, and might
Exactly.
be these pressures are going to eliminate them in a quick earlier fight, and that is something these teams are not going to look for. So eventually, I guess the pressure should be eliminated from the mind. They should play with a cool pace at this point. Eventually, even if they are not going to, let's say, qualify in the top 10, then also they should put up a very good fight for the qualifying teams, so that eventually they should know, they should remember that what a fight was there, and we are going to remember what a fight was there. Eventually, let's see what is going to happen, because our first map of Erangel is gonna start at any moment, and I'm very eager to watch how the first path is going to go. And Darshita, a small question for you: that what do you think how the zone is going to go for the teams?
I mean, you do have to do that
I
regularly.
always.
Like just before starting the match, it's all, I was just you just said I got a question for you, and I'm like, yeah, I do know. Just stop there. I'm gonna answer it before you ask me anything. But jokes about yes, talking about the very first map, very first fly path. I wish it to be a bit of diagonal where every team
Mhm.
gets an equal opportunity to fly over to their primary drop locations
Indeed.
and. Moreover, a centralized zone is what I expect to start the day with a really smooth match experience on Erangel, so that the map of Miramar can be something worth witnessing for, right?
Well, I would like to wish that some kind of carnage initiates from the first ever fights, because after a break of one day, I want to enjoy the whole carnage coming up. As a caster, as an audience, I'm also the audience of the whole tournament coming up, because it's going to be very amazing to watch that how these teams are trying to ignite that spark into them, and how the fights are going to be there. That is something I'm very eager to watch. Some initial fight clashes, some initial drop locations clashes coming up, some fists going on in the lobby, somebody getting panned out, somebody getting fisted. Well, these are some things which I eagerly am waiting for eventually, because this is the last day of the semi-finale. We are going to see the carnage tomorrow also, but that would be some another level carnage, because grand finale, of course, that's going to be there. So today, let's see what eventually happens. Let's see how the game is going to start. I'm eagerly waiting for the flight path to come in. But I guess we have to wait for a little bit longer, and the flight path will be there, and we are going to enjoy the flight path coming up. You wish for a diagonal flight path. I'm going to wish for a, let's say, western or eastern shift coming up, and then the flight and the first play zone also coming on the opposite side. Then eventually the teams are going to head out for a good battle coming up.
I mean, this is the first time I'm not agreeing with you, Raider, but eventually a smooth start is something that is really needed for these
Yeah, of course.
teams right now. Just no pressure into their minds, just a end fight is something that I really wait for. But eventually, yes, different perspective, different thoughts. Everyone wants something new each and every day. So eventually, yes, somewhere I do disagree, but. Yeah, just hoping that something great happens with the start of this decided day. And on the other hand, yes, we do have these four qualified teams, and I really wish that these qualified teams give their utmost best
Indeed.
today. Even if they are not able to qualify, all that I can say is just give your utmost best, so that at the end of the day you just don't have anything to regret. I mean, yes, not getting qualified is something that you need to sit and work on, but you got one whole day to do your homework, right? It was a 1 day break, and
Indeed,
and
indeed,
if you
indeed.
ask me, I really didn't wanted this break. I was so
Of course.
excited, but yes, it was a complete 1 day break that these teams have got. Eventually planned a lot, did their homeworks right, and if you do your homework right, right, you get rewarded for that.
Indeed, if the homework is correct, then eventually you are going to get rewarded, of course. But four qualified teams are there in the battle. Well, that's going to be NTT Gaming, Insane Esports, Revenge Esports, Team Mayavi. Whereas if we talk about Team NTT Gaming, already leading the charts at this point, they have got a very good margin in the lobby at 199 points, if I'm not wrong. That is really very cool to watch. But eventually, Team Mayavi also getting in the top 10 table list. But yeah, we are going to see the flight path coming up very, very soon. And there we go. We have the flight path coming up. Look at that. This is a horizontal
Oh.
path fight coming up. And now let's see. Your prediction is, let's say, pretty much accurate. great. It's not a diagonal flight path, but indeed it is connecting the whole map. And I guess all the other teams which are going to go for the hot drops are going to be easily accessible. For example, Lipovka, Milchapava will be there. Farm is going to be there. Milta is also going to be there. The vicinity of the Asna Polyana is also easily accessible. Rozok military base is also easily accessible. Then if we talk about Prismark, if we talk about Georgopol, well, they are pretty close to the drop location. So now my question will be about the first play zone.
I mean, if you ask me, as I said a while ago, I just want one centralized zone. Just a moment of relief is what I want right now for these players after fighting it out so hard for last 4 days. I really want them to take a moment and just calm down. Like, okay, we got a centralized zone for the very first time. We can play it really calm and composed, but I guess not really for the sides of Team EXO there. You can see them, the sides of Team Revenant and Team EXO might get into a fight any moment now. On the other hand, you talk about RE Sports going towards their primary drop location. That's going to be a military base. But oh my god, I mean, just give them relief, man. Just give them one moment of relief. What is this play zone?
I guess they have got a plenty of relief in the one-day break, but eventually now the carnage is going to begin. Of course, look at that team. RE Sports going in the backdrop areas of military base. There's nobody to contest them, but eventually Team Orangutan is going to contest them in the, let's say, rotational clashes, which is going to be there from the military base bridge. But if I talk about teams like, let's say, teams like Revenge Esports, which are in the query area, they could be contested by team number 16 at this point. Eventually, if I talk about some other teams which are going in the backdrop areas of, let's say, Rozok and the other locations, well, they have a very good chance to secure a very good location in the lobby. And if I talk about team Mayavi, they are going for the Yasna Polyana location. That's a great location to loot up. That's a huge compound to loot up. Eventually, 2 or 3 squads can easily loot up into that location. But yeah, we have a clash coming up very, very soon. Team Reckoning, and I guess that could be Team Hyderabad Hydras coming up very, very close. And there could be a battle coming up from that front. But I guess they are at a pace. They are at a peace at this point, and no battle is there, no fight is there right now. All the other teams are trying to scout for some good loots, and eventually the first rotation, or should I say the zone, the first ending of the first zone is going to ignite some good fights.
I do agree with that. And before I say anything, reader, any team that right now looks forward to the areas of Sivarni is going to get the best experience of this fight. I mean, look at that. Sivarni right now is the best place that you can be on, and if you eventually do that, you got everything. The next shift coming up, you don't need to move a muscle there. You just are into the zone. You can enjoy. You can just fight it out with each and every team trying to enter the zone. But on the other hand, the sides of Team Xpark right now, 4-on-4 players for them to their primary drop location, and that's going to be Viru, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, that's Viru on the other hand. But there you go. As you said a while ago, Reckoning and Team Hyderabad Hydras getting into an initial fight. With the start of this map, we do have 1 player or 2 player, if I'm not wrong, down to the ground. Not yet sure if they are being eliminated or no.
Well, they might have been eliminated at this point, but eventually Team Hyderabad Hydras are getting contested a lot from team which is going to be there. Look at that. They have lost Ace Black at this point. They do have striker for the win. Let's say contestment coming up, and there we go. They are going for the backup. A striker for the win is trying to scout for more and more loots at this point. Yeah, eventually we have lost Ace Black. A good initial frag coming up from the lobby, but eventually we also have Carry, striker for the win. Manti also in the lobby, and I guess that's going to be Team Reckoning scoring an initial frag, scoring an initial point, and that was Maxi OP from Team Reckoning, which actually got that initial frag into his perspective. That's a great thing for the team, but eventually the main thing is going to be maintaining that consistency. Eventually in a single match, you should be consistent. You have gained one finishes throughout the match. That's not going to be the good thing for you. So you have to get some good finishes point, and you have to get some good placement points also eventually in the lobby. So yeah, let's see how Team Reckoning is going to form that location, form that perspective into their mind, because I guess they are deep down very good in a zone. And if I talk about Team Blind, they are getting the loots in the area of in the vicinity of Prismark, and they are pretty much far away from the zone, 2 kilometers to be exact. They have to go a long distance, and I guess teams like Orangutan, teams like Rivalry, teams like Revenge can actually contest them at this point.
Migrating can be difficult for them. I mean, just getting everything that you need. Well, yes, you will get everything here, but remember, you have to migrate a distance of 2,300 meters, and without a vehicle, that's just next to impossible to do. And eventually, if you rotate late, that's gonna be one more difficult task for you. You can just be a scenario of gatekeeping that you really need to be careful about. On the other hand, we do have the sides of Team Entity Gaming. Right now, they are on the second position on the overall standing, if I'm not wrong. Well, yes, they are on the second position, but they do need to maintain that, right? Just I do agree that yes, you have rackled a n number of points for yourself, and any team just getting over you, it is difficult. It is really very difficult for any other team to just rackle these amounts of points, but at the same time you have to be careful, right?
Yeah. Careful, being careful at this point is going to be the major thing, and they have the three-man roster at this point. I guess Jadoo, Canary, and Rockstar is going to be there. Hero is missing from the lobby, and I guess this team already at the bottom of the leaderboard has to get some seriousness in the lobby. I guess they have to have the manpower. I don't know why the fourth guy is not here in the lobby, but eventually let's see how it is going to affect their gameplay. If we talk about Team Celsius remaining at the second runner position in the leaderboard, they are very calm. They are very pacifistic at this point, and they are just going for the loot. If I talk about Team UDOG Esports, well, look at that. They are welcoming a carnage coming up very soon. Team Hyderabad Hydras is already here. Lost one good guy. They are already wounded, and a wounded let's say lion is going to be more damaging at this point, and that is why I guess this team is going for the let's say decimation, and they are just trying to rotate more and more in the backdrop areas of zone. So that's interesting for them. Team Celsius meanwhile maintaining a very good ground, 588 meters away from the zone. That's a good thing for them. They are pretty close to zone. They have got some good vehicles, so yeah, they can easily rotate, and I guess getting more and more vehicles and good utilities is going to be something we are going to look forward. And again, if I talk about Team Insane, well, lacking behind from the qualification with only 1 point, I guess this team has to get some nerves up in the lobby and rotating for the Yasna Poliana area. Let's see what eventually happens. We have the combination of Adi and Mac coming up in this waggy, and other than that we also have Neo and Sayam. Well, we have seen Sayam doing 1v3 in the perspective of let's say Team Celsius, if I remember correctly, in the day number 4. Well, that was one hell of an amazing fight coming up for them.
I do completely agree with you. That was just a rap gun, and this man just going ham over the enemies. But to the perspectives of rivalry right now, we do see them rotating. But somewhere nearby that areas, there you go. Some bullets have already been fired on the sides of MVP. There, okay. That's just one player going behind. It's a marathon race, my friend. Don't do that. You can be into a lot of problems. There you go. Such Dreams manages to put on some great damages on the sides of Wizard there, and right now the rotation that Team Rivalry was up to has been a bit of damaging for them. I'm not yet sure what Team Celsius is exactly up to. I mean, they are just going with that vehicles. They are going ham. Wizard has made sure to rotate and not get into any kinds of fight right now, and that's complete disengagement, right? That's completed disengagement. But there you go, RGE Esports getting into a fight. I mean, how is that possible? The areas of military base were completely empty.
Well, as I initially said, I predicted this kind of situation coming up because Team RGE Esports was in the area of vicinity of military base, but then eventually they had to rotate from the military base bridge, and that is where Team Orangutan is camping. Look at that. Team Orangutan is already holding the ground. Rockstar again falls from the vehicle, and again he has been picked off. And I guess Jadoo is going to be the last man standing. Let's see how magical his sprays are going to be. Let's see how magical his bullets is going to be right now at this point. If I talk about Team TX, Team X Park is pretty close to a contestment. Yeah, Bharosa and Mayavi also in the vehicle in the buggy. Team Revenge on the backdrop areas, and if I talk about Team Orangutan, well, they have one good initial frag into their perspective. That's good. They are getting utilized by the zone, and I guess their utilities are also going to burn up very soon. They don't know the location of 2 remaining guys, and that is something they are trying to seek for. That is something they are trying to look for at this point. Trigger and Pachan Kone are actually going on to the, let's say, suspecting mode. Jadoo and Rockstar going to be the last man standing from Team RGE Esports, and this could be the first ever team to get eliminated from the lobby just because they have a very bad situation coming up. Look at that. Rockstar is for sure going to get the tags into his perspective, and OG Pachan Kone goes up with some brutal blows. Rockstar is for sure going to get eliminated. Yeah, there we go. He has been picked off, and if I'm not wrong, the last man standing of his team is going to be in the water bodies, and eventually he's just trying to just actually bait it out and just play it very passively. He has got some good frags. He has got some let's say good utilities. He has got 5 band-aids, 3 first aid kits for him, and 2 energy drinks and 3 painkillers for him. And eventually Team Orangutan decides to rotate from this location because of course the zone damage is going to be amplified after let's say 52 seconds. So if they decide to rotate, there might be a survival for Team RGE Esports. Otherwise they are not going to live for a longer moment.
I do completely agree. On the other hand, someone please stop the sides of Team Orangutan. Once again, they have started. Once again, they have managed to take one finish for themselves. And look at them. They are just waiting. They are like, no, we will finish the team entirely, and then we will move further. But on the other hand, we do have the sides of Team OR and Revenant getting into a fight. There you go, Celsius Pixie with one grenade will be taking down one player down. But look at Ash, look at this man. He is not going to stop. This team is not going to move a muscle without eliminating completely the sides of Team R Esports. On the other hand, the grenades, pinpoint grenades of Celsius Vixie there are causing a lot of problems to the sides of Team Rivalry. I mean, what's going on? There you go. Dreams is down to the ground, and Jukega he is the last surviving player. Now, Team Celsius Vixie, he is just all set to go and really hand towards Jukega, but he is all up and he just patched himself. 1v1 situation, really low on HP is what Rivalry Jukega he is completely eliminated. That's I guess Team Rivalry, the very first team to get eliminated. And on the other hand, Team Celsius Dreams, who was down to the ground, has been brought back to his life. But TX Viru, what just happened there? He just fell off a vehicle.
I guess that would be a very great thing for team, but eventually Team Blind is trying to contest him, and I guess that's a Mavi going for the revival. That's interesting. Barosarek is also going to be on the eastern end, and he's also trying to retaliate at this point, and he's just trying to find a good flanking position for them, and then eventually Team Blind could be contested, and that is something Team X-Pac is going to work for. And there we go. I guess that's going to be Pokemon, that's going to be some other guys, that's going to be Master, which is trying to retaliate. Team EXO going ham onto Team Celsius, and there we go. Gomlimon, the scout, is just trying to put some good nades, some frags into the perspective, but eventually if I talk about Barosarek, look at that. He's just trying to find some good angles at this moment. Blind kill coming up into the perspective, but yeah, Gomlimon manages to put one down at this perspective. I guess the team is at a 3v3 battle coming up. Blind Master going for another nade coming up very soon. Pokemon meanwhile getting contested. Gomlimon very lit at this point. Let's see what eventually happens. Well, Pokemon is going to get that heal battle coming up very soon. Another 1v1 comes up, but Mavi was unable to land even a single shot at that point. Eventually, look at that backup coming up from Barosarek. Oh, a good knockout coming up from this angle. Barosarek remaining the last man standing of his team. He has got one frag into his perspective. His team has got one perspective into the battle, but eventually if I talk about Team Blind, well, we have Pokemon being picked up. Blaster is going to be the last man standing, and Master is also here right now. Mavi is knocked out. Video is not going to survive at this point, and yeah, there we go. Barosarek goes for that revival. Oh, is it not? It's not possible at this location. It is not possible. Look at that. His vehicle is going to get burst off, and yeah, a head was connected just like that, and he also goes on. Team X-Pac has been eliminated at hashtag 14 to be exact, and with that, the battle is over, but eventually Team O are trying to decimate Team Revenant at this point.
We do have multiple fights Raider happening all over. With that one Molotov's connection, new player 1 is down to the ground. Now Paradox, you have to be really careful. It's two players pushing onto your sides. There you go, you have been caught once again. There was some belly bottom sprays going, and that's done. That was a drop shot coming from the sides of Team OR, and it's one more team getting eliminated. Man, oh man, we started with 16 teams. That's complete of 4 teams getting eliminated. I mean, this lobby right now, after the very first zone popping off, is going completely ham over their enemies. Insane Mag there connects one onto the sides of Exo Sensei, but at the same time they need need a backup. The sides of Team EXO, they do need a backup for themselves, or else they will lose Sensei, one important man for themselves completely. Adi on the other hand is just waiting. Adi with that grenade can just make a big difference here, and there you go. The grenade is really pinpoint precise. Oh no, that was really on the urge of taking one for himself, but was not able to get any kind of connection.
It was very amazing to watch that how the carnage is coming up. Team Mayavi on the other hand is trying to decimate Team HH, and look at that. I guess that's Punk who is going to get contested by that nade. There we go. The nade made that connection, but eventually it was not enough to put him down. Snacks is there eventually in the lobby. Team Insane versus Team EXO. Both of the teams looking very close in the lobby to eventually get qualified, and I guess both of the teams have to qualify eventually if you ask me, but let's see who is going to be the best of best. And we can see that EXO, Snacks, Sensei and PS Punku already falling back into the backdrop areas. Eventually they have to get a good grasp of the zone because they were pretty much open-ended, and that is why the third party could have been there, and eventually even if Team EXO was winning the fight, they might have been decimated by the hands of some other team. But Team EXO, meanwhile securing 3 amazing frags for themselves, has created a good initial motivation for the team. And if I talk about Sensei, look at that. The IGL is just trying to score more and more frags into his perspective. Eventually this could be a very difficult one for him, so that is why I guess Sensei is going to look after for the backdrop areas. If I talk about Team Insane, playing pretty pretty sharp at this point. And I guess Neo could be picked off from this location, but Skarel. Well, this is a gun which has a little bit more recoil as compared to M416, and that was a 4x spray coming up, and he was unable to tag him out, and that is why I guess Neo found that gap into the perspective. He just jumped down, and there was a very narrow window for Team EXO, and EXO was unable to take that grasp into the perspective. But yeah, Team Insane looking very sharp in the lobby, and now they actually know the whole perspective of Team EXO, and they know that there is an enemy lurking on the northern corner, and let's see how they're going to defend it out from this location.
Absolutely. The sides of Team EXO have started their day on a real good note. I mean, 3 finishes is something really great that you did to start your day. But right now, Team Insane, they are just hungry for points, right? They are just as hungry as a lion is. And you know, right, when you are in front of an hungry lion, you just are really into a difficult spot. And that is something that you need to be really careful about. But on the other hand, when you talk about the sides of Team OG, and that's OR if I'm not wrong, Jelly is being caught into an off-guard position by the sides of OG at there. He manages to take some great he just managed to put some great amount of damage to the sides of Jelly, but that is just something that he needs to satisfy himself. On the other hand, Ash is just being spotted by the sides of Team Entity, and right now if Ash doesn't leave the position there, it can be a lot of difficulties for them. But Blind, well, Jelly was not just being damaged by one side, but the sides of Team Blind right now have caught them and punished him really hard. On the other hand, the sides of Team Esports, I guess Jadu was the last surviving player, and he goes down due to that play zone. Oh, and you went down to the ground, but Sensei, no, Blind Pokemon, that's a vehicle explosion coming up, and that's done and dusted for the sides of Team EXO Sensei as well.
The Igel goes down at this point, but eventually he is going to rack up some serious and he is going to rack up some good position points for the team. And if I'm not wrong, that's going to be Team EXO Panku in the Tesla right now, trying to scout for some good initial frags. Team New One has been picked off, and I guess that is something they are not going to let go. And yeah, there we go. New One is going to get decimated by the hands of Snacks. He was the one who actually put the final nail into his coffin. Eventually, if we talk about Snacks, he is going to get contested by some other team. But yeah, OR versus Team Orangutan. Well, look at that. Team OR manages to do a 3v4 battle coming up initially, but then eventually they were tagged out by the hands of Trigger, and there we go. Just like that, Team Orangutan has secured a good 3 finishes into their perspective. Team Blind, meanwhile, eliminating Team X-Park was a good start for them. Killua goes down from that fight, but now they are remaining 3-man standing with 6 good frags into their perspective. I guess that was, let's say, an average rate coming up for the team, but now they are going to get contested by the hands of Team EXO. Look at that. Snacks looking sharp in the fight. Fierce is also going to be there, and I guess Team Mayavi eliminates Entity Noob. Team Entity's performance is not going that on power at this point, and I guess that is something they have to work on. Team Blind, meanwhile, getting contested, and Team Blind actually putting Snacks down is going to be a great fight for them. And yeah, Snacks goes down without a blow. Snacks was unable to put anything into the perspective, but Team Entity, after losing one good guy, that's going to be Noob, is left with the Dark Lord, Shadows, and Entity Troy pretty much split it at this position, but the 4th zone is going to slam in very, very soon. Team EXO also trying to retaliate, also trying to move, also trying to be in the zone at this point. They have got a good rage, but yes, Team Orangutan is also very close. Now Team Orangutan is going to initiate onto Team Blind after they decimated Team OR Esports and teams like, let's say, Team R Esports. It's going to be very amazing to watch. Team Insane, on the other hand, has actually put one guy down at this point, and their one guy has been knocked out, so the revival should be there anytime soon.
Look at this, Raider. Team Orangutan. I mean, Team what are they up to? 2 players are right in the front face of Team EXO.
Yeah.
One player is managing to put pressure on the sides of Team Blind, and the other player has already rotated for the zone. What kind of different strategy are we looking forward to of what Orangutan is doing? But on the other hand, when you talk about Team Mayavi, well, 3 finishes is what they got for themselves right now, and that's going to be great and much needed. Somewhere down, I guess they are on the 5th position on the overall leaderboard, if I am really not wrong. But on the other hand, when you talk about the sides of Team Blind, they have lost one of their players, but in return they got 7 for themselves, and that's going really amazing. Team OG, on the other hand, is trying their level best to just go ham on as many players as they can from different angle. And look at this, look at Ash. 2 players right standing onto their face, 1 player coming from behind. Right now Team EXO is really caught up into a really frisky situation. There you go, Panko is being caught there. Ash will make sure to take him down, and not just down to the ground, but I guess he'll be eliminating him completely. Fierce is being caught as well, and that's for the sides of Team EXO. Now after this is done, we do have one more fight happening between the sides of Team Insane and Team Blind, where Insane is just losing 1-on-1 players, and I guess that's just going to be Sayam, the last surviving player whose patience are just going to get tested a lot. That's done.
Oh, that's done.
It's
That's
not
done.
even instant. It's not even Sayam left right now. His patience was being tested, but not for a longer period of time will he be able to survive. That's done and dusted. With that, Team Blind managed to secure 10 points for themselves, and they're not stopping.
They are not going to
Not
stop. Of course. They are not going to support at any moment soon. Well, they have got 10 finishes, and into their perspective, that's amazing. Now they are going to go for the position points also, because eventually they are very close to the zone. They have eliminated one more guy. That's going to be Pachan from Team Orangutan. That's going to be interesting to watch. Believe already securing the front foot. And if I talk about Trigger and Ash, they are going for that revival. Meanwhile, in the left perspective, we can see UDOG Esports meanwhile securing a good position in the zone. They are just trying to retaliate at the best they could do. Crazy has been picked off, if I'm not wrong. That's going to be Sultan, Assault, and the other guy is trying to retaliate. Team Mayavi meanwhile is also getting contested. They are going for the loot, because eventually after taking a lot of fight, after picking a lot of deflection, they are going to burn up a lot of utilities, and that is why they were working on Manya meanwhile getting that single tap shots coming up into their perspective. They are trying to eliminate more and more guys. Sultan has been picked off, and of course he's not going to survive anytime soon, because the last man standing from Team OHO, that guy also goes down with the hands of Team Revenant's final boss Nade, and that was the final boss which he wasn't able to beat out, and that is why his game is over. And I guess now we are going to see some 7 teams fighting it out in the lobby. That's going to be Team Mayavi with 6 amazing frags. That's going to be Team Blind with 10 amazing frags. Team Orangutan still remaining in the top 7. That's going to be interesting. And I won't be surprised to see a winner chicken dinner again coming from the hands of Team Orangutan, because the kind of decimation these guys are trying to put forth, it's going to be amazing. Look at that. Trigger once again. Just like we were talking about Team Orangutan, they are just trying to prove that yes, we are in the lobby. We have heard you. We are going to put that winner chicken dinner into their perspective. So yeah, we are going to see some good carnage coming up. But Team Hyderabad Hydras coming from nowhere back into the lobby. They are just trying to out-thrive. Look at that. In the minimap, they are just trying to rotate at this point. Of course, they are going to get contested as soon, just because they are becoming the center of attraction, and there we go. Wherever they are going to slam in, Team Mayavi. Well, Joker was the one who actually got that initial perspective, initial fight into his courage. So yeah, now they have got 6 amazing frags, but they are going to look forward to get some more frags into their perspective, and eventually Team Revenge is also getting contested. Oh, it's going to be interesting to watch. Manti OP goes down. I guess Team Mayavi's Joker was the one who actually knocked him out, but then Team Orangutan actually stole that finish. That is something they had to learn, and eventually Trigger is also getting contested by the hands of Team Blind.
Absolutely. Team Mayavi right now is just playing a pixel game here. Even if your 1 pixel head is visible, they just can pop you off out of nowhere, and that's done for you. So that is something that I really love about the sides of Team Mayavi right now. But on the other hand, Team Entity, that is really strong on the maps of Miramar, somewhere is just falling down on the map of Erangel. Right now, if you see them, they got 2 surviving players with 0 finishes, but they managed to survive on the top 7 teams. On the other hand, Team Blind, that managed to take 10 finishes for themselves, have revived their player back to his life, and they still do have 3 players surviving. The vehicles have been completely off. They just have blasted it completely with the hope of making it as a cover for themselves. But on the other hand, that's Mr. Spray, that's the last surviving player from Reckoning. That Trigger has been caught, but Trigger, well, the reflexes were really on point, and 1 more finish is what Team Orangutan got for themselves. But Blind Bastard right now is just going on with that grenade, and Ash has to depart. That's 1 important player going down from the sides of Team Orangutan right now. If this moment Team Blind decides to go on a rush, but well, no, they can't. They do have 1 player. They do have 1 casualty as well. So okay, so that's gonna be Trigger getting contested from the other side. That's gonna be Blind Pokemon there trying to take him down, but on the other hand, 1 player was down to the ground, and that's why Team Blind needed to concentrate on what can be done. Now, after all being done and dusted, on the other hand, we do have the sides of Team Mayavi and Revenge getting into a fight. Manya, you have a really nice sight on the sides of Shark, but he misses one with that grenade. He managed to take some damages, but eventually he has to depart there and there. And right now, Joker is being caught as well. Even he departs. That's 1 by 1 players falling down from the sides of Team Mayavi. I'm not yet sure of what exactly is happening, but this fight is turning out to be one hell of a show for each and every team.
Well, look at the kill feed going on at this point. Team Blind trying to decimate Team Orangutan. Team Orangutan trying to just retaliate. Blaster has been picked up. Pokemon also goes down right from the right side. Master picks him up, and now Believe is going to be the last man standing, on whom we are going to believe that he is going to pick up some seriousness. He's going to pick up some sacks at this point. But eventually, if I talk about Master, he's just going to cook some smoke so that a revival could be there possible for his teammates. And yeah, Master and that's going to be Blaster and Pokemon going for that revival. That's interesting. Another nade goes on onto the hands of Team Orangutan. Let's see what eventually happens. I guess they could be tagged out by that nade, but yeah, Team Orangutan is also going for that revival. Believe comes up with a brutal revival coming up, and I guess they are just going to spray onto man. Oh, look at that. The connection were made. They were able to trace themselves, and eventually if I talk about Believe, well, he has also been tagged out from the hands of some other team. And yeah, Blind says goodbye to the lobby. Eventually Team Orangutan securing good 11 points into their perspective. Team Revenge remaining in the lobby. That's going to be a good one to watch. Team Mayavi with only one man power. It's a battle between 1v, 2v3 coming up. Team Revenge's final boss is still there to actually get that final perspective into the match right now. Let's see who's and which team is going to eliminate final boss to get that winner chicken dinner onto their table and feast onto that. But eventually Team Orangutan has to go a long distance in the zone. To be exact, that's going to be 77 meter. Well, you don't think that's a long distance? Well, let's talk about the 7th zone coming up, where all the other teams are just trying to chase you out from the lobby. So it's going to be very amazing to watch that how Team Orangutan is going to able to retaliate. Yeah, Pachan tries his level best. Eventually if I talk about Believe, he's very close to the zone, some good smokes, and I guess he might be in the zone, and there we go. I guess he's just trying to eliminate Shark at this point. Look at the aerial view coming up. Revenge Sonic Fox coming from the western area from the fight. Shark on the southern corner. Final boss on the front end. And yeah, we also have Knuckle 369 from the team known as Team Mayavi. And there we go. I guess Pachan goes on the front end. I guess there could be a casualty coming up. Let's see what eventually happens. Pachan ducks down. But yes, he's going to get contested. That was Shark. Look at that. Team Mayavi's Knuckle is still very, very undermined at this point. He is not going to move a muscle. I guess Team Orangutan could be picked off. And yeah, that's what happened. Eventually now you are going to see Team Mayavi versus Team Revenge, and that's going to be a 1v3 coming up. Knuckle still trying to find it out, and yeah, Knuckle manages to put one down. It's going to be Sonic Fox who has been picked off. Shark trying to retaliate, but is it possible for Shark to feast onto him? That's going to be the major thing. And look at that, Knuckle 369 still trying to retaliate. Final boss has been spotted. He can't be picked off. Oh, the random sprays are there right now, but eventually from the right side, Shark actually feasted onto him, and just like that, Team Revenge manages to put that winner chicken dinner into their perspective. Look at that, Team Mayavi meanwhile getting decimated. Team Orangutan meanwhile getting decimated, and let me tell you, Darshita, I never suspected that this team is going to get that victory.
I do agree with you. I mean, what a match it has been. Just as we started today's day, I was like that. Yes, it can be a relief of this can be a moment of relief for the teams, but no, it is not. It is definitely not. The way this map has just come up, I mean, what a match it has been. Team Blind, Team Orangutan, these two teams who have managed to almost take 11 finishes for themselves are onto the 2nd and the 3rd position. Team Revenge out of nowhere manages to take that victory for themselves. Damn, this match is just so different. And with that, we do have the sides of Team Revenge getting their very first chicken dinner, a much needed to boost their confidence. And eventually they do have still 3 matches to be played in this entire lobby. And guess what? Even if one more match plays well for them, it can be dangerous for all the other teams.
The danger which these teams are trying to put forth is going to be very amazing. They are just trying to climb very, very sneakily in the lobby, but eventually let me remind you once again, guys, if you want to see the leaderboard coming up from this match, from the till the next match coming up, till the last match coming up for day number 5, the final day, you are going to witness the leaderboard onto SKYESPORTS GRANDSLAM. That's going to be the Instagram handle for Team SkyEsports. But yeah, of course, guys, you should go ahead and follow them. And eventually let me remind you once again, this is AMD presents SkyEsports GRANDSLAM, into which the broadcasting partner is going to be Loco, where we are going to shift exclusively after the match number 3 or 4. So you should be very, very eager, and you should be very, very ready about the Loco perspective coming up very soon. But yeah, gaming partner is going to be Logitech G, and with this is the semi-finale, day number 3. Oh, sorry, this is the final day. This is it. The D-Day is going to be here right now. I'm just too excited to say these kind of things at this point, because the fight which actually happened between Team Revenge, Team Mayavi and Team Orangutan, oh, that was literally something to actually bow for. It was actually something to die for at this point, and it was very, very amazing. And along with that, we have the highlights. Let's focus on to that also.
Well, who doesn't want to see those moments happening twice, right? So, talking more about highlights, Team Xpark and Team Blind were to a fight, but Mavi here, who just went very, very close to the sides of Team Blind, created a lot more of, problems, I would say, for the entire team. Mavi was down to the ground, Viru was picked off completely, and it was the last surviving player, and that was completely done and dusted. On the other hand, it was the sides of Team Revenant. Paradox, the last surviving player, caught into a 1v2 situation where it was really difficult for him to tag tackle the fight and just come out of nowhere. But at the end of the day, it was done and dusted. We moved further. We just kept on moving further and further till this situation came up, where the sides of Team Blind, the sides of Team Orangutan were really looking beautiful today. And trust me when I use the word beautiful, because the rotations were on pinpoint precise. But what Manya did here, I mean, Team Mayavi out of nowhere just played a pixel game here.
Indeed, indeed. Those small pixels can play a very major role, as per Arcad also says. Eventually, and yeah, of course, the battle was very impressive. Team Hyderabad Hydras trying to retaliate. They were in the top 5. They were trying to retaliate, but eventually they were also picked off. And just like that, they were finished off. Team Orangutans, Ash goes down. Then eventually, Nakul was the one who actually got that initial frag into his perspective. Final boss was pretty much tagged out, but then eventually Shark comes from the right angle. And just like that, he bites him off from the lobby, and eventually the whole fight was there. Eventually, the whole battle was there. And this was the initial fight which we were talking about, Team Orangutan versus Team Esports. It was a very bad decision for the Team Esports, but then if I talk about Team ETX, well, this was the thing that Mavi did a bit wrong, because eventually he just tried to push in, and there were two guys gatekeeping for him from Team Blind, and that was it for him. If we talk about the start of the match stats coming up, we have Blind Pokemon going it out with 6 amazing frags into his perspective, 1 bonus point for him, damage will be 1128. That was interesting to watch. Eventually, if I talk about Revenge final boss, he's going to be the best companion of this lobby. 3 revivals, 1 assist, health restore points going to be 293, and if I talk about survival time, it's going to be 1471. Final Revenge Shark, the final shark which actually eliminated the whole situation of Team Mayavi. Well, with only 1 finishes. Look at that, Darshita. Only 1 finishes, and that too of that guy who was trying to retaliate at the runner-up position.
I do agree with you completely. The star of the matches that these players were just shining beautifully the entire map. I mean, yes, going all out, that 6 finishes completely going ham. And I do agree with the fact that Team Blind today is looking really good. The way they have started this day, it is amazing. And Team Revenge, eventually, yes, this team, if I'm not wrong, the last leaderboard that we witnessed a while ago, this team was somewhere down to the 15th or 17th position, if I'm not wrong. And with this way to start their day, just trust me, just imagine what will happen eventually if this team out of nowhere gets one more victory for themselves with so many finishes. I mean, this decided day is just turning out to be something that we are not expecting, right? You just needed to say that before starting the map of Miramar, right, Raider? After everything being said and done, yes, the next map is going to be the map of Miramar, the map which plays a really important role in today's day. We know the sides of Team Entity, right? They just
Yeah.
have so much of upper hand and strong hand on the sides of Miramar. But yeah, I'm not sure if they are their group is going to play the map or no. I guess it's going to be a competition between Group A and Group C. If I am really not wrong. I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but yeah, talking about the overall rankings post match 25. Well, I just wish this to be a surprise, but there you go, Orangutan running far away with points. That's 124 for finishes, 112 for position, 3 chicken dinners, and 236 total for them. Team Entity on the second position, 109 for finishes, 94 for position, and a total of 203. But after all this, Team Orangutan is the most aggressive team, but at the same time, they are being able to survive. They are not losing out their players.
Yeah.
They are not losing out any kind of position. The only team right now to cross 110 mark of position and 120 mark of finishes. Man, oh man, Team Orangutan.
The consistency which we are seeking for is here right now from Team Orangutan. Well, that is absolutely amazing to watch. Eventually, they are lagging behind slightly in terms of position points, but after getting 3 victories in the battle, I guess that is something they have to work on. And eventually, they were getting very, very close to the terms of winner, chicken dinner. In the last battle, we saw they were eliminated at second runner-up position. That's going to be the third position, but eventually, they are going to bounce back very, very soon. If I talk about teams like NTT, well, they are also going to cross the double century mark at this point with 3 winner, chicken dinners. Well, again, they are lacking behind in terms of position points, and eventually finishes are also to be required at this point. Team Entity, meanwhile, getting eliminated at #7, if I'm not wrong. That was something quite tiring for the team. Team Mayavi, meanwhile, securing the second position in the last battle. They actually got a very good grasp. LCS Esports was at, let's say, #3 after match number 24, then after match number 25, the last match. We are seeing that Team Mayavi is going to rack up some good position points. They are here. Teammate Bid, meanwhile, have to play the next upcoming battle very, very soon, and they still are unable to get the grasp in the lobby. Let's see eventually what is going to be the case. Oh, Insane Esports jumping very, very soon. That's nice. They are in the top 10 at this point. Team Rivalry Esports going down. Team Nugget maintaining their soothing position even after playing 16 matches. That's good to watch. But eventually, if I talk about teams like Hyderabad Hydras, 131 points for them. Enigma Gaming going out with 125 points. Well, of course, we are going to witness Enigma Gaming's decimation coming up in the next match. And I guess Enigma and Team Entity, these are two teams which are very keen on working in the map of Miramar.
I do completely agree with that. On the other hand, when you talk about Revenge Esports, as I said a while ago, they were on the 16th position back there, but right now they have climbed up and they are on the 14th position with a total of 124 and the previous victory that they registered for themselves. But after everything, after two chicken dinners that they got for themselves, looking at the 14th position is something that is not something I'm really happy about. I mean, 70 position points and 54 finishes is not something that you do get after getting 2 complete victories for yourself, and definitely 14th is not the point that you are supposed to be, my friend. You just got 3 more chances. It's do or die situation. So yes, if this sneaky climb of revenge is really successful and the homework is done being done, so yes, we can expect any moment that the Team Revenge Esports climbs the stairs up. But rest the sides of Team UDOG as well, they on the 16th position with a total of 118 right now. This position from 13 to 16 is something that catches my attention more. I mean, if you ask me why they got a probability chances, they got a 50% chances of yes, 50% chances of no. But this side, the side which we are really scared of right now.
Team X Spark remaining at 102 points after playing 17 matches. They are at 102, and eventually Team Blind Esports also trying to outperform a lot, but then also they have got only #18th position at this point, and I guess they are not going to qualify at this pace. Only three more matches left for them. I guess the kind of carnage which they are going to put forward is going to be, let's say, top 3, top 5, aiming for top 3, top 5 position, and eventually getting some good frags into their perspective. In the last battle, you saw that they were getting 10 to 11 frags into their perspective. That was interesting to watch, but eventually Team Orangutan was the one who actually got that final nail into their coffin. Team Tactical Esports, even after getting 1 chicken dinner, is still remaining very calm, but I guess Tactical Esports, Marcos Gaming, these are the two teams from the #17 to 24 leaderboard which are going to come back in the map of Miramar, and we are going to see a great number of decimation coming up from this team also, because after 1 day of homework, after 1 day of, let's say, rest period, I guess these teams have to muster some new courage, muster some new strategies into their perspective. But teams like R Esports, Old Hood, OR Esports, well, they tried their real best. OR Esports, meanwhile, in the last battle, proved a very good 3v4 battle into their perspective. That was very amazing, eventually not even losing a single player. But then Team Blind, out of the blue, came from the back end area and just like that decimated them. And Team Revenant was the one who actually got picked up by the hands of Team OR Esports. Revenant remaining at 21, and 22 is going to be occupied by Team OR Esports. Well, that is something they have to work on, but eventually, yeah, we are going to go on the caster deck. We are going to enjoy. We are going to see that how the map of Miramar is going to enact for these teams. because this is one of those maps where you are going to face a lot of open-ended fight. You are going to see a lot of open-ended fights, a lot of vehicle burst going on, a lot of vehicle getting stumbled, a lot of fights not going into your favor eventually, because third parties will be there, fourth parties will be there, and these are something all of these teams are aware about, because after playing 25 matches, it's gonna be, let's say, a bit obvious for these teams.
I do agree with it. I mean, yes. The only thought that I have right now is the countdown going in my head. It was 6 a while ago. Right now it's 5, and after sometimes it will be like done. Semifinals is done. What has happened? What has happened so far? Just give me a complete flashback about it. But after everything being said and done, the only thing right now is the map of Miramar, a map which is completely open, where you sometimes get an advantage of a great height position, but it can backfire you, my friend. If your vehicle falls off, it's done for you. There's no chances of going down, but chances of directly saying a goodbye to the entire lobby. There are n number of things that do happen in the entire map of Miramar, and especially the cases of third parties. Not just third, but parties on parties is what we eventually witness every passing day on this map. Though we host the party, but we feel like what is exactly happening. This is not something that we expected to happen. So yeah, eventually this map consists of everything. Your rotation needs to be really pinpoint precise, and the reason why I say pinpoint precise is with that vehicle you try to rotate the sand dunes, the complete open area. Sometimes you may dash into another team, and out of nowhere your rotation can just cause you a fight, and it's not always that a fight works to your favor, right?
Yeah, of course, of
Sometimes
course.
the enemy may be really strong enough and the fight may work into their favor. So eventually, yes, your rotations needs to be really pinpoint precise while rotating. If you get crashed when if you just collide to any team, you need to decide whether to go with the fight or whether to just go with the flow, like go with the zone. There are so many scenarios, right? So
So many
many.
variables. Yeah, of course, there are so many variables. Well, of course, apart from a 4v4 fight coming, that's something very dangerous to actually watch for in this kind of lobby in the map of Miramar. But apart from a 4v4 lobby, we are going to face some good new dangers coming up in the lobby. That's going to be third parties, that's going to be rotational clashes, that's going to be red zone, of course, also working into favor of other teams. Eventually the enemies, the opponents are going to get the benefit from that perspective, but eventually let's see how the fights are going to initiate. I'm just eagerly waiting for the flight path to come in, and again waiting for a great shift coming in the flight path, and a great shift coming in the play zone also, so that we are going to see some good clashes coming up very soon. Last match was very good. Initially we thought that it's going to be very passive one, but eventually team Hyderabad Hydras and team Reckoning went on ham, and ES Black was picked up from that fight, and that was the spark which ignited a fight into the lobby. And then eventually team Esports, after looting the area of, let's say, military base, was trying to rotate from the area of military base bridge, and eventually they were caught red-handed. They were caught very openly by the hands of team Orangutan, and that was something team Orangutan started. That was the point where team Orangutan started the decimation, and it ended at #3. Look at the decimation which these guys actually brought in the lobby. Pachan Khan and Believe, if I'm not wrong, was the last one standing from that team, but eventually they were also picked up, as they were the center of attraction, meanwhile rotating from the top ridges to the bottom ridges. Well, this was something very interesting to watch. But eventually, if we talk about the Miramar area, it is going to be very open once again. Top ridges are going to play a very crucial role for the teams, but let's see how these teams are going to enact. Of course, as we talked earlier, that yeah, high ridges are very beneficial for you eventually if you are able to take the benefits from that ridges. And if you are going to get very open, you are going to get picked up, and nobody is going to get you a revival, because eventually after the 5th or 6th zone, there is nobody who is going to try to climb onto your location and get you a revival. Of course, you are going to be picked off. Of course, you are going to be a aim for all the other opponents, because you are going to be the center of attraction. So these are few things which I'm able to check out. So let's see. Eventually, the flight path is also here. Let's check out the flight path.
Well, with this, we do have the fly path all set to our screens. I mean, a diagonal fly path is, what we can see on our screens. Impala down there. This place, radar specifically, is the only place in the entire map of Miramar that I love the most. I mean, yeah, you do find some beautiful things to work around with in the map of Miramar, and specifically into the areas of Impala. But on the other hand, when you talk about the drop locations, right now each and every team got a good opportunity of going forward, looking forward to their primary drop locations. Sometimes at the end of the day, right now, I do pray to the BGMI gods that this is the final decider day. Please do listen to me and just show me a water zone down to the areas of Los Egos there. I mean, I do really wish to see that, but on the other hand, I really don't want to be the one playing the Bad card once again, right?
Again, I guess it's gonna fall onto you, of course. So let's see what eventually happens. Let's see how the zone is gonna get placed. Either it's gonna be in the terms of lost units, or it could actually go on the northwestern corner. Let's see what eventually happens, because the flight path is going to end very, very soon. And eventually, after the flight path is over, we are going to see our play zone coming up. Let's see how the first play zone is going to play out a role for these teams, because we have a, let's say, southeastern ship
my
coming up.
God.
It's gonna be
Oh
interesting to
my
watch. Well, we
God.
have Chumasara in the center, Montenova on the northern corner. It's gonna be very amazing to watch that how the decimation is gonna be there, how the fights are gonna put through from this location. Let's see how the carnage is going to muster and how the point system is going to rack up at this location. And yes, of course, we are going to see the point system. As we said, the point system is going to be at #1 you are going to get 15 points, #2 will get you 12 points, the third runner-up, the second runner-up is going to get you 10 points, #4 will get you 8 points, #5 is going to get you with 6 points, #6 with 4 points, #7 with 2 points, and of course #8 to 12 is something you don't want in the lobby. I guess that's only 1 point for you in terms of position. And #13 to 16, well, that is something you are of course not going to aim for. But yeah, we have the flight path coming up, we had the flight coming up, we had the flight going over, and now the zone is here.
I mean, before saying anything, the time we just went on the point system, I was like, please don't that beautiful zone away from me. This zone is so pretty amazing right now. We do obviously are gonna have some initial fights happening up there to the areas of El Pozo, down there to the areas of Los Leones. But I guess okay, that's Del Patron as well, where we do see the sides of team. Tactical, and if I'm not wrong, that's going to be the sides of team Enigma getting into a fight any moment now. So yes, talking more about the play zone right now, you do got a great opportunity to walk into the areas of Del Mar and Del Valley down there. Chumashera, yes, it's a great position. It's into the center of the zone right now, and the contestment you have when a specific area is in the center of the zone. Each and every team tries their level best to work at the center, but right now, if you ask me, Raider, I will eventually work at the corners, right? I'll just play corner to corner in this map of Miramar, but yeah, I just don't want to be gatekept as well.
I guess corner to corner is going to be a great strategy for those teams which have actually got a great number of points in the lobby, but eventually those teams which are lacking behind in terms of points, they are going for the aggression and they are going for the, let's say, placement also, because all of those combination can get you a good leaderboard starts into the perspective. But eventually, if I talk about Esports, well, they have got the guys coming up, Jadu Canary, and the last missing guy is Hero, which is also here in the lobby. That's interesting. Rocksha is still going to be there right now, but I guess Darshita, a small question for you: is Rocksha going to fall again from his vehicle?
Please don't ask me that. If I say yes, and if he eventually falls down, I mean, why do you just want to ask me such a question, man?
Well, I guess your prediction is pretty accurate onto that point, but yeah, we are going to see some good close call fights. Team Insane, meanwhile, looking sharp in the lobby with 134 points from the last battle. They have got a good grasp. They are at #10 in the qualifications, but yes, let's see, is it going to be possible for them to maintain that charm, because teams like Revenant Esports are going to bounce back once again. They were able to bounce back in the last battle. We never expected that, but eventually teams like Insane Esports is one of those aggressive teams which is unable to get any kind of position points at this moment. Eventually in the last battle also they were picked off at #7 or 8. So yeah, let's see what eventually happens, because they are going to get contested by the hands of team Skylightz Gaming. There we go. We have new player Gamla Boy Somraj and picking up Pukar into the perspective, and I guess team Insane could be contested, but eventually from last 2 days we are not seeing a contestment coming up in the area of El Pozo, and these teams are just trying to rotate on their own way. It's like, you mind your own business, we will fight it up, but eventually we'll just take the loot, muster the courage, and then get some good position points, and eventually we'll take a battle. Then I guess there could be a casualty coming up, but team OR chilling on the backdrop area still with the 3-man power.
Yeah, that's just them waiting right now. That's just them preparing themselves for the upcoming fights in the map of Miramar. And not just them, I mean the entire lobby right now is just having their hands on everything that they need, and eventually preparing themselves for the end zone fight that might just start in somewhat like 5 or 10 minutes. But moving further with the vehicle is what team Enigma is looking forward to. Each and everyone has a different vehicle to walk around with, but sometimes when I do see these players going into a straight line behind the vehicles, I do feel like what if one vehicle is down? What if the other team tries to spray on 4 vehicles at the same time? There are so many questions I do have in my mind. But on the other hand, right now, yes, they are looking safe and secure. There's nothing to worry about. They're just moving forward to their primary drop location. And I mean, not the primary drop location, just a good location is what they have been searching for so long, right?
Indeed, Team EXO is meanwhile looting in the vicinity of Los Yunes. They are going to get contested anytime soon by the hands of Team 8-bit, because 8-bit, one of those teams which is very close to the qualification. I guess they are in the table toppers list. They are at hashtag 6 if I'm not wrong. So yeah, it's going to be interesting that how these teams are going to put that contestment. We have Juicy, Madman, Tsunami, Raid also coming into the perspective. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch, but I guess the rotation is already onto the set 4, and the first zone is going to shrink in. So yes, they are going to aim for the rotation so that eventually they are not being gatekept by some other team, and that is something you have to be aware from the map of Miramar, because this is a very open map, and eventually if you are gatekept, two of those things are going to happen. Either you are going to get decimated by the zone, or you are going to get decimated by a third party coming up for you. So yeah, this is something they have to be pretty aware about. And 8-bit Raid meanwhile still looting the compound, still looting the western areas of Los Angeles, and eventually the loot will be over. This team is going to put the carnage into perspective, but I guess in the first map, in the second match, in the first play zone, these teams are very pacifistic, and not even a single team is trying to move a muscle. Not even one guy has been picked off. We are going to see 16 teams. We are going to see 63 players in the lobby, just because Team OR's I guess some other guy has not been able to join the lobby, so that is why 3 members for Team OR, but eventually all the other teams are with the 4-man roster.
3v4.
Yeah,
It's difficult, right? It is
it is.
difficult when you are running really low on one player. I mean, that one player can just play a very important role in your rosters, and if you do not have that player, it can cause you a lot. But yes, let's just hope that Team OR just gives their level best, and the thing of not having one of their player doesn't backfires them. On the other hand, when you talk about the sides of Team Nuggets, I mean, how do I say that the team name is Nugget, the player name is Nugget. Why do you do such things to confuse the caster? If it was Enigma, if I'm not wrong. The guy holding the name was Enigma Gaming, and once again we do have such things happening. But Rockstar, please be careful. This time, please be careful and just don't fall. If you do that, I'm just gonna sit and cry. Or on the other sides. Jokes apart, on the other sides, we do have some fights getting started. That's going to be the sides of Team Celsius. Well, Dreams, he is just into the vehicle that is, just damaged, really damaged. His dreams can just shattered with 2 or 3 incoming bullets to his side, but he needs to be really careful at the same time.
Indeed, rotating in a damaged vehicle can actually result very ugly for you. In the last match, we saw Exo Sensei going kaboom by the hands of Team Blind Pokemon. So, of course, it's gonna be very tiring for these teams right now. But eventually, I guess this is the area of Miramar. You could do that kind of stunts for a little bit of period, because it's actually, let's say, a mid-range or long-range fight coming up for you. Team Entity, meanwhile, securing a very good compound into perspective. Team Celsius preying like a predator at this point, just trying to actually spot their prey. Let's see, is it possible for them to put them down? Well, Dark Lord, the good mini 14, is going to get that perspective, and he is going to tap them out. Let's see what eventually happens. Celsius Karthik, Vixie, Max, and Dreams are going to be the combination of the Team Celsius. Let's see what happens. Eventually our first play zone is actually got shrink down. The second play zone is also going to be there in about 1 minute, so that's a very small fraction of time. And there we go, again a western shift is there in the zone. So let's see what eventually happens. We have a lot of team coming from the backdrop areas. Well, that's going to be Team Nugget rotating from the backdrop areas of Los Angeles and all, and then OR also trying to rotate. Then we also have Team UDOG India trying to rotate. Team 8-bit still in the zone. That's interesting. They are able to get a good grasp of the zone, but I guess in the center we have Team Revenant coming up with a fight with Team Insane. Neo has been picked off. The top fragger, which is actually coming from Team Insane, is actually getting decimated. Look at that, Pixels coming up. New player meanwhile manages to put him down, and I guess he is like, I'm not going to let you be the top fragger, man.
What a start for the sides of Team Revenant right now. One player, one finish is what they have secured for themselves. And right now, they are trying to go in for more max. We were not really careful about the position, but the cover fires were really great. Sayam there tries to take one player down. Well, he is successful on doing that, but at the same time, he is traded there and there by new player 1. Right now, Team Revenant do have one player down to the ground. Okay, my bad, make it 2, but they managed to completely eliminate the sides of Team Insane right now. For the period, if I talk about the sides of Team Insane, I mean, what Team Tactical, what are you up to? Please don't be doing, I mean, what? Team Revenant right now just finished a fight with the sides of Team Insane and Team Tactical with some great vehicles that they have. They have just completely surrounded the sides of Team Revenant. And right now, if Team Revenant manages to take one more team down, okay, that's one more. That's Team Enigma there. Oh my God, that's the parties that we have been talking about, Raider.
The party has been started, the decimation has been started. Look at that. Team Tactical was trying to score a very good third party coming up for them, but eventually I guess Team Enigma would like to say a hello to them. And yeah, there we go. Top Dog is going to get that frag into his perspective. He's easily going to eliminate one more guy. Tactical Hitman meanwhile picked off, and Team Tactical is actually lacking behind in the terms of leaderboard a lot, and that is why they were able to get that third party perspective, but they were unable to tackle it out. And yeah, Kid also goes down with that. Team Tactical is facing a lot of wrath, and I guess the last man standing of Team Tactical is just going to flee from the situation because he knows that if he is going to remain the last man standing, he should go for the position points. And yeah, that's what Clutch is going to do. While 69 was the one who actually got that initial perspective into his favor, but then Hitman was picked off, Kid was also picked off. I don't know what he's trying to do, but I guess Clutch, if Clutch goes for the fight, he might get decimated at this point. Can we only see with a good nade coming up for Team Revenant? Top Dog, this is a good comeback for Team Revenant, but let's see, is it possible for them to keep it up? Well, Team Skylightz Gaming also trying to decimate one more guy from the lobby. That's going to be Team Rivalry. Enigma G2OP getting contested by the hands of Top Dog, still unable to put them down, still unable to retaliate, still unable to get that frag into their perspective. But let's see, is it possible for them to get that carnage into their perspective? Well, they have got 6 amazing frags. OR Aditya goes down. I guess that's a really very sad thing for Team OR. Remaining with 3 manpower, they have lost one good guy of their team, so I guess that's going to be 2 manpower. Again getting decimated. Team Revenant, Encore has been contested. He is going to get that revival, of course, but Team Tactical from the back end, that's going to be Clutch. And Team Enigma from the front end is just trying to push in, push in, and push in. Well, the zone is actually favoring them. But is it going to be Team Enigma which is going to occupy the compound, or Team Tactical is going to reign, or Team Revenant is going to defend or not? Well, that's a major question which we are going to get an answer for pretty soon.
I do have the same questions, but on the other hand, when you talk about the sides of Team Nugget, going out of the zone and fighting is something that you definitely do not do in this map of Miramar. We do see them down there fighting with the sides of Team OR. On the other hand, the sides of Team Revenant, they are just being contested so much. I mean, just look at them. They just finished one fight and there were 2 more teams standing right in front of their face. But Team Revenant, they are just looking so strong right now. The sides of Team Enigma Gaming have decided to not go in for a real close range fight, but somewhere a mid range fight is what Team Enigma has been looking forward to. Right now, they just tried their level best to take one player down, but that was really not working into their favor. Well, if you talk about Eggy there, yes, that's going to be a 98. Oh, thank you so much for that. I've been waiting for this since the start of semi-finales. Well, that's going to be an amazing sniper shot getting connected, and Paradox has to depart. But on the other hand, once again, the revival is successful, and the disadvantage of having a mid-range fight right now is you can't rush. You can't completely go ham to your enemies with just getting one player down. But on the other hand, out of nowhere, it's going to be the sides of Team Rivalry getting caught by the sides of Team Revenant as well. So in short, it means that Team Revenant right now is not getting into a fight with one specific team, but at the same time with multiple teams all around.
A lot of teams were there to contest them at this point, but they were trying to let's say hold it strongly. But if I talk about Team Skylightz Gaming, well, there we go, they are trying to actually eliminate a Team Tactical's Clutch. But let's see, is it possible for them, because they are in a very open-ended fight. And yeah, Team Enigma meanwhile just actually decimating a lot of teammates, but still got only 1 frags into the perspective. But there we go, Marcos Gaming coming from the backdrop areas is going to get that third party once again. Look at that, guys, they were trying to decimate more and more guys, but now they are going to get contested. Team EXO meanwhile trying to decimate Team UDOG India, who has actually secured a good winner chicken in the lobby. But there we go, Mystic also goes down, Zarka has been finished off. That is a really very sad for the team. Team EXO, Panku was the one who actually got that 2 initial frag into this perspective. That was interesting to watch. Enigma still trying to retaliate. Evo Italy is trying to rotate at this point, but yeah, his rotation could be decimated. And yeah, that's what happened. Look at that small pixel coming up for him. Sagi is not going to let that chance go from his hand. And yeah, Team EXO also getting contested. Snacks meanwhile has been picked off. That's a sad thing for them, but UDOG Kishu is still trying to actually just let's say put up a pressure into the fight right now. That's going to be interesting. We have Dave coming up in the fight. They have been contested. Look at that. Kishu meanwhile is getting damaged a lot at this point. Sensei just actually trying to just find a good flanking position from which they could just pick them off. Now Fierce going for a good nade. Let's see. Oh, that nade could be placed very accurately, and yeah, that's what happened. Mystic goes down with the brutal blow. Now Kishu and Dave is going to be the last one standing, and they are pretty much free-handed at this point because they have nobody to revive, and that is why it is like, let's say, We have to take this fight. We have to get that elimination into the perspective eventually. And Team EXO also with 2 amazing flags. Team UDOG also with 2 amazing flags is still trying to retaliate. But we have another picture of a car coming up. That could be Team number 8 with the retaliation coming up. But yeah, Dave has spotted, but Dave was not picked up. And Dave is going to throw a good nade into the perspective. Let's see, is that nade going to get that connection or not? That's going to be the major thing. There we go. Nade is there. Connection was there. Sensei is still actually remaining in the fight. That's interesting. But Kisho is going to push in for sure. And Dave is also going to push and retaliate once again. Look at that. We have the head getting popped off. Let's see what happens. Oh, I guess the Sensei is trying to retaliate. He actually got that 1v1 into the perspective. But eventually Dave with that UMP 45 meta finally wipes him out and finally gets that close to winner chicken dinner perspective into his favor right now. And but if I talk about Team Enigma, well, Darshita, you should thank them for the kind interaction coming up.
I did it a while ago, right? So yeah, talking more about the sides of Team Enigma right now. Okay, before talking anything, Team EXO getting eliminated, the first or the second team to I mean, getting eliminated so early is not something that we do expect really from a great and an aggressive team like Team EXO, but sometimes it happens that the fight doesn't work to your favor and eventually you have to pay something in return, and that's going to be you getting eliminated. So goes for the sides of Team OR as well, getting eliminated. Team OR is the strongest team I know, but right now the entire journey of semi-finales is something that I have not seen them performing. I mean, they are still on the third sides of overall ranking, and this is not what we have seen Team OR doing. On the other hand, when you talk about the sides of these players, that's Evo Idli, Klets Radiant. Well, Evo Idli, I was just about to talk about you, my friend, but he is already down to the ground. On the perspective of Somraj, he just manages to take one player down. He just manages to give a lot of damage on the other, but that damage is something that he needs to satisfy himself with and just move with his teammates.
Of course, Cells Radiant was the one who actually got that initial frag into his perspective, but then eventually if I talk about Team Enigma, still with one frag into their perspective, they are just trying to gatekeep Team 8-bit, but is it possible for the Team 8-bit to actually break that gatekeep? That's going to be the major concern. Look at that, Kenny on this is still trying to bait it out, he's just not moving a single muscle, just trying to play it safe, play it cool at this point. Eventually Team 8-bit will try to pressurize them because they are out of zone, and that is the thing which is going to put them into the pressure. But if I talk about Saggy, well, he's also out of zone, he has also to rotate in the zone, and yeah, we have Marcos Gaming trying to tag them out from the right angle. Well, we have a lot of contestment coming up. Team Revenant from the backdrop areas also trying to score some good frags into their perspective. Well, they have got 6 to 7 frags, but there we go. Candy UDC playing it cool is not enough. He actually went on to Tsunami, and just like that he obliterates Tsunami. The frag is not there, but still I guess Tsunami has been tagged out quite brutally. He is not going to survive. He is not going to make out anytime soon. But yeah, Segi goes down by the hands of Team 8-bit. That's good. But Team Enigma meanwhile is getting a lot of contestment, and yeah, there we go. Candy UDC with a good nade from 8-bit Madman actually puts him down, but Avi is still not. Avi, the last man standing, went out, actually eliminates Tsunami. He got a frag into his perspective, but that's not enough, buddy. And we have Marcos Gaming climbing from the northern corner, but yes, of course, we have Team Revenant also trying to contest it out, and that is why this team is going to get a lot of contestment. Meanwhile, Team Forever still trying to play it very safe. URP has been picked off. Evo Italy is completely taken down from the lobby. Cells Radiant and only Rocks are going to be the only hope for this team to actually secure more and more points. And let me remind you that this is Marcos Gaming remaining at the table at the bottom of the list at this point.
They need to do something, right? Yeah. They really need to do something, or else it's just that it will be done and dusted for them after the end of this match. On the other hand, yes, they are trying to go in for a revival, but when you talk about tactical clutch, my friend, you are just getting hit by so much of damage. What are you okay, that was him trying to find a great position, but eventually he just hits back a lot of damages, and yeah, he do burns a lot of utility. You talk about the sides of Team Revenant right now, they are really looking good to the positions they are holding. All the other teams right now need to rotate, and that is the point that can really give a great advantage to the sides of Team Revenant. But Paradox, if by any case we see a split happening, that can cause a lot of problems. On the other hand, you talk about the sides of Team 8-bit, one player is down to the ground, but it's Try there who just goes in for final 2 eliminations, and one more team, if I'm not wrong, that's Marcos Gaming being eliminated, where Team 8-bit manages to take 6 finishes for themselves with 1 player loss.
That was amazing, but in the sneak peek of that fight, we also saw that Skylightz Gaming Gamla Boy finally eliminates Team Tactical's Clutch, which actually got eliminated at #11. So I guess 1 position for the team I guess that's not a good thing for the team, but eventually he manages to put them down. But yeah, there we go. We have Team Revenant with 6 amazing frags, not even losing one single guy for the team. But yes, of course, they have got a very good center compound. But I guess Darshita, this could be a great contestment for the teams because now they are going to be the center of attraction. All the other teams which are left in the lobby, that's going to be 9 teams to be exact, trying to retaliate. But we have Team Celsius focusing on to Team Nugget at this point. And there we go. TN Pro OP has been picked off. That could be Badsha, the other guy who has, okay, that's Nugget who has been picked off. Badsha and the other guy, Anus 2 OP, are trying to retaliate from the back end area. Hero missing from the last match's action is here in the lobby and getting contested a lot at this point. Team 8-bit with 6 amazing frags after losing Tsunami by the hands of Team Enigma is still trying to retaliate at this position. Team Celsius is here right now trying to retaliate, give their best at this point, but is it possible for them to get that winner with a chicken or not? That's going to be the major thing. Oh, there we go. Karthik also goes down by the hands of Team Revenant. Top dog. Well, look at the contestment Team Revenant is trying to provide. In the last match you saw, they were decimated by the hands of Team OR. A 3v4 battle was there, but still they were unable to make it out. But I guess now this is the moment of retaliation coming up. They are going to get some good frags, and if the chicken dinner is going to go into their favor, I guess that could be a great jump for the team.
I do completely agree with you. On the other hand, when you talk about the sides of Team 8-bit, right now they are really looking good. I mean, yeah, I do agree they have lost one of their players, but what they got in return is something that they need the most. 6 finishes, right? So, yeah, that's going to be pretty amazing deal for them. But, okay, there you go. Revenant new player manages to take Gamla Boy down there. Pukar will be taking one for himself. So, on the other side, it's Encore, if I'm not wrong. He is trying to just put as much pressure as he can on the sides of Team Skylightz Gaming. But this grenade from Riot can cause a real problem for the sides of Team Esports. Well, not getting the connection on the first makes him go in for the second grenade as well, but I doubt that connection will be secured. Well, there you go, no connection for him once again. Jadoo is holding back the position. A Molly is being tossed as well, but there you go. I mean, Jadoo is just no, he's not yet set on the line of fires. Riot is just wasting a lot of utilities right now, and I do prefer using the word wasting just because he just utilized 2 grenades and 2 molotovs. He got one player down, but eventually he got traded there and there. Right now, after all these being said and done, we do have the sides of Juicy and Madvan, the 2 surviving players that need to revive back their teammate, but the decision that they are making right now may backfire them with traveling that buggy that's already way too damaged. On the other hand, you talk about the sides of Team Rivalry. They got nothing. They got no finishes, but Team Entity getting eliminated in this map of Miramar is something that is pretty shocking for me. And you know the reason, right?
Yeah.
You know the reason, right? This team has proved themselves so much on the map of Miramar, but on the other hand, you go there, Team 8-bit Madman. He's already down to the ground. It's Paradox, they're trying to take one player down. Team Forever, player 5 is down to the ground. Paradox trying to just eliminate him completely. Well, he's just trying to put everything that he has right now, but is not getting anything in return.
Of course, he's just trying to put more and more space at this point, but Team Revenant meanwhile has secured good amount of finishes. I guess now their standings is like Team Blind in the previous match, so of course Team Revenant has to actually gain some good seriousness in the terms of, let's say, position points. Team 8-bit meanwhile getting eliminated with only 6 flags at hashtag 6 if I'm not wrong, so that was interesting to watch. Team Esports has also been contested, and yeah, Team Revenant just trying to rack up some more and more points at this location. If I talk about team number 16, that's going to be Team Forever, which is going to get that revival for OS Bolte, but let's see how his gun is going to speak at this point. But eventually, yeah, there we go. Team Rivalry with 0 frags in the perspective, they are going to get some good frags into there. Go, oh, that was a good one. Vulture 07 with a good nade, and Celsius Vixie has also been eliminated. Team Esports meanwhile getting eliminated in this match. Team Esports was able to get 5 amazing finishes. That was interesting, but yeah, I guess that's not going to be enough for them to jump back in the lobby because they are still going to remain in the top bottom of the lobby. So Team Revenant meanwhile has a higher edge. In the last match, we also saw higher edges can be very deceiving for you, and in this match we are going to see Team Revenant trying to actually be on the top edges at this point. Yeah, there we go. The nade is there. Mashkas actually tries to pinpoint that nade, and that was interesting. New player has been picked up. That is really very bad for Team Revenant, and this is the beginning of the end. Might be this might be the beginning of the end for Team Revenant. But yeah, TF5 player 5 has been picked up, so yeah, there will be a revival.
Oh
and
my
for
God.
also trying to contest from the left angle. Let's see how many casualties they are going to rack up. They are very close to the zone. They are interestingly in the zone, let's say. So I guess 10 or 15 meters more to travel. So they could easily pop up some good smokes. But there we go. Encore's nade got that connection. 5911 has been damaged out. Jukega nade is already there right now. Another nade is going to be there into the PP turns out. Let's see how the nade is going to retaliate, how the nade is going to affect. Oh, the nade was a bit short end, and that is why there was no connection. Meanwhile, Team Revenant is actually getting contested from multiple angles. They are getting contested from Team Forever. They are just trying to rise onto the area, but they are getting actually get a good assist. Oh, look at that. Mashkas goes down, Nexus goes down, and TF Player 5 is also going to go down from that perspective, of course. And yeah, that's what happened. They have been contested. They were trying to push forward, but they were unable to check out the surroundings, and that is why I guess they have been contested by the hands of Team Celsius. That's a great thing for Team Celsius. They are going to get some good points into this match. I really doubt there is a winner chicken dinner coming from this angle, but yeah, they are going to put a great number of contestants.
After everything being said and dusted, right now, Team Revenant is a team that I'm looking forward to. I mean, they got really a good number to play around with, and with that, they got a good confidence boost that was really needed. Vulture, with that smoke, he is just trying to have a good chunk of the zone. He's just trying his level best, but Dreams, there you go. Revenant having a great angle in this entire play zone is just going to, boost their confidence and boost their advantage level they have. On the other hand, Celsius will be taking one. That's 7 for Celsius, 11 for Revenant. Now, Dreams, his location is being dribbled. Is that going to shatter his dream? Well, no, there you go. Rivalry MVP managing to take one down. Team Revenant, that was looking pretty good right now, is just falling down like dominoes. Paradox has been caught as well. No, Paradox, why did you just do that? One pixel of your head will cause you to go down to the dust, and Encore will be the last surviving player. The sides of Team Rivalry have almost decided to just go aggressive, but I guess Team Celsius will be going in for one from the sides of Team Rivalry. Encore still got a chance. I would say still got a chance because he is the last surviving player, but he's holding a great position. Even if one push comes, he can manage it easily. Team Rivalry is not really looking good right now. One player, it's going to be Max, the last surviving player. Jukega Nai is being caught. His location is being revealed. He is just trying to eliminate as many players as he can. Right now, it's the fight. It's the fight. It's the marathon for the chicken dinner. A 1v1 v2 situation is what this lobby has got, with some grenades and Monotox connection. Team Celsius is trying their level best, but Encore, he is just being silent right now, so silent that no one can hear on where he is and what is exactly going around.
It's gonna be
To be precise, okay, I'm so sorry to cut you, but I'm really excited to see what is going to happen next. To be precise, right now the sides of Team Rivalry are just utilizing every utility that they have. No helmet, but they do have some bandages to walk around with, and that's going to be the only thing that they put forward to. Now, Raider, it's a situation of 1v1v2. Rivalry do have the manpower advantage, but at the same time, Encore and Max are holding a higher advantage, right?
ಯೂನಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು.
It's going to be very interesting to watch that how the fights are going to be at this point. It's going to be very amazing to watch that how the retaliation is going to be there. And of course, there we go. I guess Team Revelry is going to go down with that brutal pro. Now Celsius Max is going to be the last man standing of his team right now. Team Revenants and Core. Let's see what eventually he does right now. There could be a good 1v1 coming up. Let's see what eventually happens. That could be a very close call for Team Revenant, and Team Celsius could actually win that in fight. But there we go. The initial frags was there. Initial connection were being made. But I guess Encore is there with boosters. But yeah, there we go. He has been done and dusted just like that. Team Celsius scored a good winner chicken dinner once again in the lobby, and that's going to be the match number 2 of day number 5. This is it, guys. This is it for them right now. Team Celsius going all ham into the lobby. They tried their real best. Max was the one actually taking a good amount of patience into his consideration. He actually manages to wipe out Team Rivalry. He actually did a great amount of damage onto them, but finally the last strike, the last finish, the final nail into the coffin was onto the hands of Team Revenant. That was interesting and very eager to watch.
What did just happen there, man? Oh man, we had 3 teams fighting: Celsius, Revenant, and Rivalry, if I'm not wrong. I mean, I do wish that I'm really not wrong on that sides, but we do had 3 teams fighting with the sides of Team Rivalry. Well, yes, I do agree for the fact that these players, the chances, the probabilities of them having this victory was really low, and the only reason I say that is because the position they were holding was completely into a dip, and you know that when your enemies is just having a higher ground position, that's a great advantage and a bigger disadvantage for your team, and that's what exactly happened. The fight between Revenant and Celsius, it was a 1v1 situation going on, where once again Celsius, the last surviving player, I really don't recall his name, but yes, the last surviving player, he was holding a good position upper hand. Well, yes, thank you for reminding me. That was Max. He was holding a great upper hand position, whereas Revenant Encore, man, you tried your level best. The only thing that I can say is you tried your level best, but eventually Team Celsius with amazing amount of finishes got their chicken dinner, and moreover Team Revenant came onto the second position with, if I'm not wrong, that's 11 for them, right, Trader?
Interesting one. It was very amazing to watch that how the retaliation was there from the ends from the teams, and Team Revenant and Core was trying his real best to get the flag into the perspective. But eventually, let's go to the highlights table eventually to enjoy the whole match. Let's get a recap of the whole fight coming up.
Oh, that was needed. That was really needed. Of what exactly happened in this map of Miramar was, definitely something that went each and every one of us shocking. I mean, by this I really mean to say that with every upcoming map of the D-Day, the Decider Day, we are seeing a new face coming up with so many finishes. The previous map of Erangel, we saw two new teams, the sides of Team Revenge. Many teams, Orangutan, I guess it was, who secured really good amount of finishes for them. And on the second map of today's day, we saw many teams going really good on the thing of finishes. So yeah, we do expect a lot more from these teams. But right now, the teams that are at the top position are just running away with points, right?
Indeed, the top teams are just trying to run more and more at this point for the points right now. But look at that. This is the highlights which we are talking about. This was the moment that Team 8-Bit was trying to decimate Team Enigma. But then Candy Undisi comes up with a brutal blow. He actually tries to wipe one down. But then eventually he was picked off. And then Team Enigma was actually very undermined. And they were the last man standing. I guess Avi was the one last man standing. And he was actually close called by the Molly. He actually tagged out one guy. Tsunami was picked off. But then eventually the end of Team Enigma was there. After that, eventually Team Revenant secured a very good compound. Secured a very good location, and I guess zone favored them a lot. But eventually Team 8-Bit and teams like, let's say, Celsius, teams like, let's say, RE Esports was trying constantly to decimate them out, and that was something Team Revenant was unable to defend eventually.
I do completely agree with that. On the other hand, you see that, right? The position Team Revenant was holding was pretty working out in their favor. But the sides of Team 8-Bit were really looking good with 6 to 7 amount of finishes that they got. But at this moment, everything just went complete opposite, right? One player was down and the second one went down, and that was done and dusted. With that, we came forward with the top 4 top 4 teams, top 4 surviving teams. By the sides of Team Celsius, they were just looking good from the very start of the day. 5 finishes with 2 surviving players, 6 finishes with 2 surviving players, and at the end of all this fight, Team Celsius was remaining with 2 players for them. The way Dreams just use this reflexes at this point of time was something that I really praise right now. Encore, the last surviving player from the sides of Team Revenant, I mean, the position he was holding, I was really happy for the position that this guy was holding. There you see that. The way he was just utilizing his performance, the position was really good. But this situation just turned the tables around, turned the things around. It was Max and Encore getting into a 1v1 situation. Encore was just getting hit back by a lot of damages, and that was done and dusted, with Team Celsius getting their amazing, delicious chicken dinner.
It was very amazing to us that how Team Celsius got that win over the chicken. But let's talk about this fight coming up between Team Insane and Team Revenant. This was the start when Team Revenant actually grasped that aggression into their favor. I guess Top Dog was picked off, but eventually I guess Paradox was also picked off, but then New Player and Encore was the one who actually standed out tall in the fight, and that was very interesting to watch that how the retaliation was there. Eventually, yeah, there we go. Paradox was picked off, but then Encore came from the back end area, and Encore, the last man standing from the lobby, was there for the team eventually in the last battle also. It was very amazing to watch. But then Team Enigma comes up. Saggy was the one who actually got that initial frag, but then Team Revenant was still trying to decimate them out. If I talk about the star of the match, well, of course, our Celsius Max is going to be the star. It's going to be the going all-out point for him. 7 finishes for him, 1 bonus point. Damage is going to be 1198 for them, a close proximity to 1200 points. Team Revenant's Paradox is going to be the best companion for the team, and for the overall lobby, that's going to be 2 revival, 4 assists for him. Health resource points is going to be 517, because eventually, after taking these many fights, he was tagged out quite severely, but yeah, he came back very, very strong in the lobby. And eventually, if I talk about Celsius Max, he was the one, the final nail into the coffin. With that, the match was over. With that, the brutal fight was over, and the fight was into the favor of Team Celsius.
This is everything about the map of Miramar, right? We started it with excitement. I mean, I would definitely say excitement. I was pretty excited with each and everything happening. I mean, the zone prediction going through what I wanted, somewhere down there was zone that I expected, and yes, it eventually happened to go that way. There were multiple things happening, which eventually just came to an end. With that, I really need to mention that yes, Celsius Max is really shining brighter this time. I mean, look at that. 2 titles is what he has got for himself, going all out in final elimination. This proves that he was the last surviving player there who managed to take the fight for himself, fight it out. He went all ham to the enemies, but at the same time, he got that chicken dinner for his entire team. And right now, Team Celsius would have been the most happiest teams right now, getting one more victory. Or I guess at the starting of today's day, they were at somewhere at the 3rd position, and after this victory, I do feel like somewhere 2nd position is something that we may see them or we may not, right? I'm really confused.
Yeah. It was very interesting to us that how Team Celsius bumped up the points table at this moment. But yeah, Celsius was contested by the hands of, let's say, Team Mayavi, getting the points into their perspective. But yeah, first match was won by Team Revenge. Then Team Celsius bounced back once again. I guess we are going to see some other new face coming up with the victory in the map of Erangel in the match coming up very soon. Very soon the flight path will be there right now. But with that, guys, the match number 3 will initiate. But let me remind you once again, this is AMD presents SKYESPORTS GRANDSLAM. Broadcasting partner gonna be Loco, gaming partner gonna be Logitech G. This is the final DJ of semi-finale. And let me remind you one more thing. It is a very, let's say, important thing to watch. But yeah, Loco is going to be our exclusive broadcasting partner. So eventually after the match number 3 or 4, we are going to shift completely onto Loco. So make sure to download the app, make sure to download the profile, make sure to actually follow the profile of Sky Esports Hindi, English, Kannada, whatever language, regional language you are going to watch on. So make sure to follow them also, and make sure to follow Sky Esports GrandSlam on Insta also, so that the leaderboard after these matches are going to be there right now. Because as we promised, after match number 1, the leaderboard is not going to be there for you guys. It's going to be a bit of surprise for you. So make sure to follow them, and make sure to just check it out, the Instagram handle, where all the highlights, where all the other things are going to be there for you.
Surprises is something, Raider, that we have been getting since the very first day. I mean, we just got surprises. Day 1, we saw the sides of Team Tactical and Teams. It was Team Tactical, it was Team Orangutan. We saw these teams doing great. But what happened next? Team Orangutan ran away with points. And on the other hand, Team Tactical just went on going down in there. We just saw so many things happening. But concentrating more on the upcoming match, it's going to be the match of Erangel once again. And I do feel like after witnessing these 2 amazing maps, after realizing that these teams have done their homework really well, I somewhere do feel like that this map of Erangel, once again, we are going to have a new face, a new team coming up with the chicken dinner, or just... these teams who need to climb the stairs up, maybe they are just being a sneaky climber right now, just going up and trying their level best. I mean to say, that's the only thing that can be the case. But focusing, it's going to be the match of Erangel, the match between the groups of B and C, where we do have 4 qualified teams. That's Revenge Esports, Team Mayavi, UDOG India, and Team Nugget.
Oh, a lot of qualified teams are going to be there right now. A lot of contestment is going to be there for sure. It's going to be very amazing to watch that how Team Revenge Esports is once again going to bounce back. They got the victory, but I guess all we have talked about from past 4 or 5 days, let's say, is about the consistency. Let's see Team Revenge Esports will be able to get that consistency or not. Team Mayavi getting that consistency once again, because eventually they were unable to get that victory, but yeah, they were able to get that good amount of frags, good amount of position points also into their favor. They initially tagged out Team Entity, then it all went on to Team OG, and all the other teams which were there in the lobby pretty much was actually tagged out by the hands of Team Mayavi. Eventually Team Revenge Esports was also tagged out quite brutally. We have one guy that was, I guess, Final boss meanwhile getting tagged out quite a lot, and eventually Shark was the one who actually batted his ass off. Then eventually the points was there into their favor. Team UDOG India meanwhile coming very strong in the lobby. Team Nugget also coming very strong in the lobby. Let's see what eventually happens for them. But yeah, the qualified teams are here, but eventually we also have the, let's say, mighty teams like Xpark, Hyderabad Hydras standing very tall in the last matches. Reckoning Esports is going to be there, old to 10. Of course, how could we forget Team Orangutan, because they are leading the charge. They are setting a mark in this lobby. First one to actually get the 100 points table into their perspective. I guess that was Team NJT if I'm not wrong, but yeah, first one to actually get 200 points, or let's say 2 centuries back to back into their perspective. That was interesting. Team Blind again bouncing back from from hashtag 20 to hashtag 18 if I'm not wrong. That was also interesting to watch. Skylightz Gaming again bouncing back. Team 8-bit coming in the top 5 tables, then eventually going down once again. Team Tactical Esports only securing 1 points. I guess they have to rack some good more points. Team Tacticals Clutch was the last one standing from his fight. But yeah, Enigma Gaming standing tall once again. Can you only see Edgy, Sedgy, 2 OP. It was very interesting to watch that how we also retaliated in the last battle. Then Marcos Gaming will be there, only Rock, Cells, Radiant, and I guess that was some other guy also trying to retaliate from their fight. Team Forever with the West Bolte Mashkas and all. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be one hell of a match to be exact.
I can completely agree with you. And sitting besides this caster deck, I can really feel what you are feeling right now. The level of excitement, the nail biting situation, everything going around. I can really feel that happening right now. Some teams are just playing a role a comma does in the sentence. I mean,
Yeah.
what does a comma does? What does a comma does? It just gives you one moment of relief, 1 second of relief is what comma gives you. But after that, you just don't stop the sentence. You keep on going and going, and that's why I just said a comma, because these teams right now are just working like that. They are just going in for a moment of relief, but once again they are back on track, back on performance. And so I would definitely like to mention one single team, that's Orangutan. There's no full stop to this team. I mean, it's just comma going on from the very first day itself, right?
Yeah, of course. Team Orangutan is one of those teams which have maintained that consistency which was required in the battle of semi-finale. Well, eventually we have some teams which have actually racked up some seriousness in after a whopping 1 day break, but still some of the teams are not getting that points into their favor. Miramar Esports coming back sharply in the last battle, but I guess that's not enough. Getting 5 finishes and eliminating at 5, it's not going to let you in the top 10. Of course, they are the bottom of the list at this point, and we are not going to see the leaderboard, not the casters, not you guys. So of course you have to follow the Instagram handle to eventually get that leaderboard into your perspective. But yeah, it's going to be very amazing. It's going to be one hell of a leaderboard. You are going to see top 10 team. The cream of the lobby is going to be there right now. But one great loss for the last battle was Team Insane Esports. I guess, Darshita, we saw Team Revenant and Insane going hand to hand, but Team Insane meanwhile were getting choked out very harshly. I don't know what Mac did at that point. He was having M249, but eventually he just put that M249 into his backpack. He was running barehanded, and that is why he was caught down by the fire of Paradox, if I'm not wrong. I didn't know what happened at this point, but yeah, Team Insane Esports, one hell of an aggressive team, was choked out very harshly by the hands of Team Revenant in the last battle.
It's all about the amount of pressure these teams have on their head. I mean, right? It's Team Insane was somewhere on the 11th position back
Yeah.
there, and they just needed one more point to be in the top 10 leaderboard. But now, right? One bad performance can cause you a lot, and that eventually affected the team entirely. Team Insane, which was not able to perform on that match, has caused them a lot. Right now, I am not saying that it's done for them. I am saying they do have a chance. If I'm not wrong, they got 2 more maps to play today. They have played 2, and they got 2 more to play, or 3 more to play. I'm not completely sure of how many maps are left for them, but the amount of maps that are left, eventually if they try and convert one for themselves, even if it's not a chicken dinner, if it's just like second position with 10 plus finishes is what Team Insane secures in one match, they can secure their position. They can confirm their position in the top 10 list. So yeah, these are some small calculations that can happen at the back end, at the end of your mind, that yes, if it goes this way, this can happen, or if it goes that way, that can happen. But at the end of the day, these teams are just trying their level best, and they are just giving all everything that they have. So by telling everything that they have, we do have the map of Erangel all set onto your screens with a great fly path. But before you leave, Raider, any
Yeah.
prediction that you would like to give?
I would like to say a southern zone will come right now, but let's see what eventually happens. I would like to say see a water zone coming up in the terms of areas like, let's say, Milta, Farm, and Novo Ripnoi. There could be a deadly triangle coming up onto that location. But eventually, let's see what is going to happen. And yes, of course, I'm going to leave for, let's say, one match for you guys. But yeah, I'll be back very, very soon. And Arka is going to join the desk, and eventually, you are going to enjoy the lovely casting by Arka. So welcome, Arka.
Thank you so much, Raider. I mean, the game seems to be intensifying, Darshita. I know that new teams are able to pick up that winner chicken dinner eventually, and the bottoms of the table have eventually woken up. I really love the way they're taking the fight towards the enemies. Oh, for the first time, we're able to see a northeastern side. The zone is going to happen over here. We have seen a 7E zone before. We have seen a shooting range before. We have seen the Miltapar coming in the zone before. But the first time we'll be able to see Yasnaya and Stolber coming in. What do you have to say about that?
The only thing that I can say, Arka, right now is the BGMI gods are really sure that it's the D-Day. They are just, just giving so great fights. They are just making the zone go so mad right now that these teams eventually have to find it out no matter what the situation is. And I mean, I don't know what to say right now. The zone is just completely going to one side. That's going to be completely eastern side is what it's prioritizing right now. That's going to be teams just having their hands on everything that they need and rotating. That's the start of everything that we have right now, right? So, yes, I guess Arka is really excited to know of what exactly is going to happen. But talking more about initial fights, Arka, right now we do have the sides of Team Hyderabad Hydras.
Yep.
There may be a chance of them getting into a fight. What do you think? Will initial fight right now be a better decision for them, or to avoid the fight and play for position is something that they need to do?
See, ultimately, it all depends on what position they're holding, right? So, in case they know that the position they're holding needs them to go pick up more than 20 plus kills, then they would go for an aggressive push. But ultimately, right now, it's all about trying to be consistent, picking up average number of points in each and every game. So if they're confident that later in the circles, they will be able to pick up some kills, then probably not go in for an early skirmish. But in case they're scared of going for an early skirmish and losing players, then in the final circles, that is when we'll be able to see them go in for an attack and then try to pick up those kills. So I have to see what could be the strategy. If I was playing in the place of HH, all I would like to do is make sure that I do not lose any of my players in the initials. Try to get to the center of the circle as quickly as possible and try to have a hard cover. And once I'm not finding hard cover, that is when I'll try to play the corners of the circle, pick up kills.
I do completely agree with you. On the other hand, there you go. There's one fight already happening with the sides of Team 8-Bit and Blind. Well, yes, that's going to be the sides of Team Blind. Well, Team Blind, they lost two of their players, if I'm not wrong. It was Pokemon to go down, and it was Killer, the second player, to go down there. Right now, these fights, these initial skirmishes is something that these players really do need to avoid. I mean, the play zone, right? You need to rotate at any moment with the upcoming zone, but there you go. 8-Bit Trials will be taking one more player down. That's Pokemon has been eliminated completely. Killua is down to the ground. Blaster is just waiting. What just happened? All of the players just completely went ham to the sides of Blaster, and he just had no other options than hiding behind in that tracks. But eventually that didn't work into his favor, and right now Team Blind is just left with their last surviving player, and that's going to be Master.
Absolutely. Now we can see that Master's pressure is already built up, and that's why he was not able to control that vehicle properly. But ultimately losing 3 players earlier in the match, now that is a point of concern for the side of Blind. But 8-Bit on the other side, picking up so many good kills and already being in the 5th position. I think they're trying to push in for the top 3, at least, to end up in a good note. And this kind of 8-Bit we had missed in a really long time. The synergy is perfect between these 4 players. They know exactly when to strike against the team. And one more, the best thing about that is the Assaulter is actually giving them that initial. But at the same time, let's look at Yasnaya. That is where we'll be able to see Team Mayavi present over there. And one good thing about Team Mayavi is that they are trying to come into the top 5 no matter what happens, and that seems to be working out for them as when it comes to the game. But ultimately, I want to see teams in the bottom to also inculcate such a strategy where they'll be able to survive until the top 5 and then take the fight to the enemies, because ultimately that is the point where they'll have an average of at least 6 to 7 points.
I do completely agree with you. Talking about the sides of Team Reckoning right now, we have 4 surviving players. they are looking good with the buggy they have. I mean, yes, not for a long run, buggy is something that you really have, but right now they are really, really looking good with that. On the other hand, we do have the sides of team Orangutan, and before you joined, Arka, I just was having a word with Trader about the comma, like the comma is the work a comma does in the sentence. It just gives you a moment of relief, and then you just continue the sentence. That is something that the sides of team Orangutan is doing right now.
Absolutely. I think I have to say that, it's put in a very good way over there. This team has so much potential still left out in this tournament that they could be the team dominating at the end of the day, being on the top of the table, even in the finale itself. Because we are seeing them play such a mature gameplay. They exactly know how to play when it comes to a close range battle. They exactly know when to play on a mid range battle. But when a long range battle, especially when it comes to the map of Miramar, they tend to fumble a bit.
I do agree with that. We have seen this kind of situations happening multiple times. On the other hand, I just saw the sides of team Reckoning going down. There was team Nugget getting one finish for themselves. But what happened with team Reckoning? There is something that I need to see. Okay, one more player crossing their paths. Well, please don't be doing that. You just lost one of your player, I guess, a while ago, and eventually, if you lose one more, it's going to be really difficult for the entire team to survive. On the other hand, we were just having a word about the sides of team Orangutan. Right now, they are looking good in the vehicle that they have, all the players surviving. But I do feel like this 2-2 split is something that can really bite them back into this long run.
Probably, but at the same time, I'm looking forward for the overall points table, how it's going to look. For now, we can see that 8-bit is already leading in this specific map, having 3 finishes already in the name. We have Nuggets coming right behind them. We were speaking about Hyderabad Hydras, so they are, trying to stay alive as much as possible. Tactical on the other side was in the crosshairs of Gamla Boy. He did maintain that trigger discipline. He knows exactly when to strike, and now it's going to be the point where he's going to strike, put the player down almost, but again he's going to come out in the open and he's going to pay the price for it. That's Hitman getting taken down. The team is going to regroup as quickly as possible, and that's the best part about the side of Skylightz Gaming. As soon as they detect an enemy and they say that there's an enemy in front of us, they eventually go in. All 4 of them regroup so quickly and they take down the enemy, and that has been the key to their success. Now we are able to see that one more easy picking is what Skylightz have achieved over here.
The only question, Arka, that I do have in my mind is, where are the other 3 players? I mean, you just lost one of your good player, and right? When you are running low on one player, it can cause you so much of disadvantage. Right now, focusing more on the sides of OH, older, where we do have 4 surviving players, and each and everyone is just carrying a different buggy. I mean, just look at them. All of them to have a different buggy to work around with, and they just are looking forward to a great compound and a great hold. I mean, each and everyone do need that, right? At the end of the day, it's your position that's going to matter you the most. But look at this, Arka. Everyone right now is just focusing on the areas of Yasnaya, and I really don't want. Okay, there you go. Yasnaya is going to be the home. Exactly. Yasnaya is going to be the home for many teams right now.
Absolutely, because they all want that hardcover which we're speaking about. They do not want to lose players. The best way for you to not lose players is going to be that. But I can see that Enigma on the other side is taking a rotation away from Yasnaya, probably coming to the southern side of the map, which is completely abandoned. Shelter is where you want to stay at this point of time. Probably if the zone starts to favor towards Farm or Melta, we can expect the final circle to be forming at Shelter. And we all know the chances of heal battle in the Shelter is inevitable for teams which is below as well as the teams on the top. For all these things said and done, I'm wanting to see, with 55 people alive, I know that apart from that part of Shelter, probably the parts of Yasnaya, everything is an open field. So the rotation clashes is going to be inevitable for few teams. Now I want to see which team is going to take advantage of all these rotation clashes, and which team is going to actually end up being at the side of Ruins as well, to make sure that they can come in for a late rotation inside the circle.
Late rotation is something that I really don't go with. I mean, right? You just get into so many problems when you rotate late. On the other hand, you talk about the sides of Team Tactical. Well, I was just finding 3 of their players. I do have them on my screens getting into a fight, and There you go. Maxis has been caught there. 169 is just trying his level best to take the players down, but right now he just needs to satisfy himself with the amount of damages that he has provided to Maxis. On the other hand, there's Tactical Clutch, who has his eyes on Ace Black. That's going to be Team Tactical with a 1-2 split eventually after losing one of their players. I mean, that strategy can really be difficult, but that dip to work around is something that Clutch needs the most at this moment. Carry is being caught. He is being dealing with a lot of damage, but Clutch, he has...
Grenade.
Yeah, exactly. He has just compromised his location. No, Clutch, don't do that. You will just get caught into a real bad situation. One grenade from his side as well, but I doubt that would get him any kind of connection.
But the second one which he's tossed looks like it's going to be falling in the right pockets, but still doesn't. It does do a damage for few people, but we can see that they're going to regroup and try to fall back. It's going to be the side of HH. A very, very clever move. They won that man advantage in the final circles, and that's why they're falling back. But ultimately, Tactical Clutch, he has done the job for the team. Like, he has shunned away a team which could be the, which could have been a big problem for them. But on the other side, Nuggets did not expect, OGs to come in that rashly on their face and eliminating one of those players. Now Anuj knows that Believe is inside. It's better he places their crosses over there. You can hear the vehicles are trying to push in against him, and that is why he's trying to avoid being under the crosses of any team. But ultimately he's expecting backup, and we can see the backup is also approaching. But HH on the other side have found a very good cover, pretty much close to the side of Yasnaya. Now we have to see whether they'll be able to play for placement points from here on. With all 4 men standing, this team badly needs that winner chicken dinner that can boost their confidence and fight for a better position.
I completely agree with you. On the other hand, you talk about fights happening all around. It's going to be the sides of Team Reckoning and Orangutan getting into a fight. Right now, Abrar, he has a good position, but at the same time, Ash has a better one. You see, I believe he is just trying to move forward with that vehicle. M249 and M416 is something that he has to work around with, but I guess Reckoning has already decided to disengage off the fight, but not is for the sides of Revenge and Team Nugget. Bacha OP moreover managed to take one player down, but Team Nugget has already lost one of their players. That's going to be Pro OP. Team Nugget is down to the ground. He's been revived back by Bacha, but the shift in the zone is something that all these teams needs to worry about. Exactly. They just I mean, I don't know what to say next. It's just up to you, Alka. I mean, what would you say about this?
I expected the zone to fall in over here, right? I said that, if the zone is going to fall towards Milta, Farm or Shelter, that is when everybody would want to come into Shelter, because there are some ridges for themselves. There are some tunnels which can, which they can go in and hide. But all they'll need is to have the maximum number of medic in that, med pack in the team, because ultimately if they have to go in for a heal battle, they need to carry all of it. All these things said and done, we can see that few teams tend to use smoke as soon as they lose a player. Now during the time of rotation, that can actually backfire, even though it can give you the right kind of cover. We have seen that once a smoke is present, somebody is going to stop by and try to spray random sprays and see whether you can tag a person inside. So that is not something you would want. Tactical on the other side, Clutch has been lost. The only hard cover near the side of Shelter is being taken by the side of Team Marcus at this point of time. Tactical is also trying to push towards the same side. Enigma, as I said, the rotation towards Shelter has worked out like a charm for them. Different places is what they're holding, but they will have to rely on sticking together. Eggy on the other side with the sniper is waiting for somebody to walk into his crosshairs as well. Tactical has come up to the other opening, so one last opening off the side of Shelter is also being held. So we have to see which is the team which will take control of the Shelter as of now. But as for the others, the rotation is still going on.
That's going to be the case for many of the teams. On the other hand, you were talking about Enigma. Right now, they are just trying to hold the position as much as they can. But on the other hand, they tried. Well, Team Nugget, you are just walking into a crosshair of a man who is really waiting for as many finishes as he can. The vehicle explosion can cause a lot of problem for the sides of Team Nugget. There you go. One more grenade. Can this grenade be deadly enough to take 2 players down? Well, Nugget has decided to rotate. One more grenade. Drive is all set to get into the fight, but he will have to intake some more damages before he take anyone down. Tsunami going in for a cover fire. That will be 1 player down from the sides of Team Nugget, and now 8-bit is looking really good. This is the performance that we really do expect. On the other hand, Juicy with that grenade can cause a lot of problems for the sides of Team Nugget, but no, that grenade is not going to get them any kind of connection. The player down to the ground has been eliminated completely, and this marks 4 for the sides of Team 8-bit. Right now, Tsunami and Madman have already decided to just rotate to go in for a different flank, and there you go. That will eventually work into their favor. Madman once again taking 2 for himself, just proving his name right. He is a crazy man, and that's something that his name speaks really well.
Absolutely, but at the same time, there's going to be another team trying to third party. It's going to be OGs trying to tag them out at this point of time. But I really love the way Madman executed that. He knows the last player standing over there with the 4x. He got, he eventually aimed for his head, opening that 4x. And once he knew that perfect crosshair was held, he removed the scoping and then eventually sprayed right on the enemy. They're going to get a lot of loot, but ultimately for that loot, they'll have to fight against the side of Team OGs. Blind on the other side. Late rotation has been the key for them so far. HH, you can see that HH as well as Team Mayavi, both of these teams are actually fighting out on the northern side of the map, but the southern western side is where the tension is being held off right now. 3 players of 8-bit have made it inside the circle in the high ridges, but at the same time, one person, they'll be losing him because obviously Madman had pushed in too hard, and it would have been really hard for them to survive. Now OGs is gonna pick up all the loot which has been which has been given to them from the side of 8-bit. Now REG versus 8-bit has started off. As we can see, Tsunami is already down. Grenades have been thrown as a defensive line from the side of Raid. He's trying to push in with that UMP. Doesn't find players inside the cover. Oh, finally comes face to face, puts a player down. That's a revenge taken. Now he has to revive Tsunami. I don't know whether Tsunami will be the person who's going to be visible, but ultimately OGs are not going to stop. They're going to follow 8-bit for wherever they go and try to put them down. REGs have taunted the long lion as they're going to be paying the price. One last man standing. He's going to be eliminated because of OGs from far away. 8-bit has left out with 2 players, or probably one on his knees as well.
What just happened a while ago? There was multiple teams fighting it out just for finishing one single team. Man, oh man. On the other hand, you talk about the sides of Team Revenge. They are just trying to go as far as possible, but that's going to put an end for the sides of Team 8-bit if I'm not wrong. Well, yes, Orangutan will be trying hard to just take as many finishes as they can, and once again Orangutan just rackling up finishes is something that the entire lobby needs to be really careful about. On the other hand, you talk okay, that's something that I was talking about a while ago. 5 finishes for Orangutan, and right now somewhere nearby, I guess Trigger has got some more information, and he's just waiting for a confirmed information before having any kinds of finds. And there you go, Pechankon. Eventually he has spotted the players of Team Forever there. That's going to be Tier 5 and always bolt with a buggy that's exactly parked outside the house. The vehicle is being punctured so that the players don't get any chance to rotate on that vehicle, and eventually needs to run barefoot, and that's where I guess they will be catching them on off guard. But on the other hand, there's Team Mayavi. Manya getting caught, and he's already down to the ground. UDOG Kishu is down to the ground with one sniper shot popping his head off completely.
Absolutely, but at the same time, Team 8-bit, the way they were taken down from the side of OGs, it looks like OGs are actually locked their crosshairs against that enemy, but they knew that, every time there's a third party and they approach, they can pick up kills. So right now, we're able to see that Enigma is trying to keep their crosshairs on the side of UDOG. UDOG has suffered 2 losses at this point of time, 2 of them on their knees to be specific. Now, they need to pick up as many smokes as possible through the pixels. Enigma Sagi was able to tag out more players. It's going to be hard for them to eventually come in and pick up their players. Going to be UDOG. In case they get them survived, that is going to be a challenge which has to be faced by the side of Team Eggy. But at the same time, the zone falling at shelter. Now Enigma being at the center also have some hard cover for themselves. Now we have to see how many more kills can they pick up. Now UDOG on the other side, it looks like all 4 players have been picked up on their foot, or probably they would have lost a player because there were a lot of people tagging them out. OGs on the other side are outside the circle. Now the teams who have to make it inside the circle have to be very careful, because ultimately the teams inside is going to grab all the tension against them, and it's going to be a pour of lead.
I do completely agree with that. You talk about late rotation. I mean, that's the only disadvantage that you get. On the other hand, you see the sides of team, I guess that's Skylightz Gaming there. They are just waiting out of the ground. OG once again getting into a fight. That's Trigger who has to go down. Ash eventually has to go down once again. OG is just falling down. Nice. He has to go down. Well, there is one team who can put a full stop to the to the amount of points that OGs are racking right now. Pehchan Khan is going to be the last surviving player, and if he doesn't move a muscle here, he can be at a safer stop. But eventually he does move something, he will just fall off to his death and nothing else. Right now, Evo Italy, he will be going in for one more Molotovs there. But what exactly is... Okay, Pehchan Khan has been caught there as well. What are you doing? That's a complete open area and you have nothing to work around with. Pehchan Khan has been caught into a real difficult position, and right now the only thing that he can do is just to wait patiently, play patiently, and just survive at least till top 5.
Absolutely, but at the same time, there was another team which rushed in against the side of UDOG, but UDOG have done an amazing job damaging the side of Team OGs. Now, we all know that Team HH on the other side have somehow come in with 3 men standing. Now, Manti gets taken down. Now, 2 last players, even though they had control of the zone, even though they had made it inside the circle, they give out their location, due to which they had to pay the price. Eggy on the other side, as I said, Enigma control over the whole of shelter, all thanks to the position they were holding. Now they're picking up as many kills as possible. Yua from the side of Marcus Gaming has a different story to say. He's pushing in as hard as possible from each opening and making sure he can pick as many kills as possible. Team Mayavi left out with one last player, is in the crosshairs of revenge at this point of time. If Akshay can confirm the skill, now Team Mayavi will be standing in a very, very wrong position when it comes to the overall points table. All these things said and done, Skylightz Gaming is also getting tagged. Now let's see whether Team Marcus will be able to put an end for the side of UDOG.
That's a question that I eventually do have, but right now Evo Italy, he is just down to the ground. He's just waiting back patiently, but not is the case with sides of Team Skylightz Gaming. Kamla Boy is down to the ground. Sultan with some smokes to his bay, he's just trying to go in for some predictable spray, but Somraj, he is just waiting behind under the other the line of smokes that he has built for himself. On the other hand, you talk about the sides of Team Enigma. Right now, you do look them into a great position, but Skylightz Gaming is the team getting eliminated. Enigma, as I was talking about them, they are looking good to the position that they are holding, but I doubt what is going to happen next. This grenade from Gradient. No, please don't tell me that's going to be one player down with that grenade. Well, I guess no. That's him getting no connection with that grenade. UOP, he is down.
No.
Deadly. Well, a South Indian fan who has a great pinpoint precise grenade cooked will be taking one player down. That's 4 for the sides of Marcos Gaming. Now Italy is being caught as well. Even eventually, if he even tries to enter that shack, it can cause a lot of problems for the entire team. To just highlight more and more points. Right now they do have a great position to work around it, but there you go, Italy is down to the ground, and not just down, he is being eliminated completely.
Absolutely. Now, Enigma is the team to watch out for. Everybody will want to push in towards that compound, right? Because they have the best spot in the house. And we all know you are on the other side from the front. Oh, Team Mayavi gets eliminated with just 3 finishes. The only team which has gained more finishes before getting taken down is going to be 8-bit. They've got 8 finishes in their name before they got eliminated. Now we can see that Enigma Eggy with that M24 is still landing shots, which I said that, there are chances if enemies come into the crosshairs, they'll be able to get taken down. HH on the other side with 2 men standing, somehow have survived as much as possible. They've come into the top 7 now. They need to survive a little more and try to come into the top 10 to get some points for themselves. Enigma on the other side with 4 men standing, 11 finishes is what they've got. They're still not stopping themselves. They're hunting for players. Nexus is pretty much visible over there. Kendi doesn't see him, but his teammates are actually scouting out properly. Now this part of the shelter can be really, really good, but ultimately when the final circle forms, that is when the point of concern might rise in for the side of Team Enigma. They can see Revenge behind the buggy, probably his head is visible. Shots go in. M24 shot gets connected. The second one doesn't connect. It's going to be seconds before it might. As Shark is still trying to push in, and we are able to see that Headhunters are still trying to do a fight over here. Shark gets eliminated because of the shot connected by the side of Striker. Now we have to see who else is left out to challenge Enigma in this final circle.
Enigma is looking so beautiful today, but I guess it's going to be difficult right now. One player is down to the ground. It's going to be Kendi Undis here. That's a beautiful Bollywood song that we do have, but jokes apart, right now he is down to the ground, and I guess he is just he's just been eliminated completely. Eggy, eventually he is down to the ground, but Hyderabad Hydras striker is been put down by the sides of Team Enigma. Shaggy with that grenade incoming to the sides of Shaggy. He will be dealing with a lot of damage, but eventually he decides to put more on the enemies with the Molotov that he just put forward to Klets Radiant. He is just holding back that position, and look at Avi, how beautifully he is just reviving his teammate back They both are out of the zone, but they do have one player inside the zone, and that's going to be Shaggy. Shaggy right now can play a major role of providing all the information that he can, but he needs to be really careful about the position Radiant is holding back. UDOG Dev, he just doesn't wants to even leave one to the sides of UOP, and he is just trying his level best. But there you go, Avi. Okay, that's Shaggy to take one player down, and Avi just confirming the player completely. Right now, Team Enigma, this is the strongest play that I've ever seen from them, Arka.
Absolutely. When you have the right kind of rotation towards the side of shelter, this is inevitable for you. And I said the heal battle is also could be possible in this game. And it looks like, a heal battle might be possible because two players are still inside shelter trying to fight it out. And the side of Team HH is also pretty much, their location has also been compromised. You are on the other side, will have to prioritize zone at this point of time. I know he's healing up. He's got just no seconds left out. 56 meters is what he'll have to travel to make it inside the circle. But at the same time, there is Enigma on the other side waiting out for anybody to walk out from the tunnel or probably from behind this rock where HH is hiding so that they can land the final blows. All these things said and done, HH right now might be doing the biggest mistake which they could dream of, because Avi on the other side might have a crosshair placed against them. Now Avi is picking up a buggy, trying to push in. HH on the other side, Striker gets taken down. That was Eggy. He was visible to now. Black Ace on the other side. His location is also being revealed, but he'll be able to put down Avi, who came in blind, and due to which Avi might be giving up his life over here. Giving information is all he can do, as Saggy is going to push in as quickly as possible. Black also has an opportunity to strike against Saggy, and he does it as well. As has a very good opportunity to eliminate the side of Team Enigma, as he'll have to push inside the circle. But on the other side, Eva is going to put them down. Enigma, as I said, once the conversion comes, and eventually you also get taken down, HH pulls it out, getting that winner chicken for dinner for themselves. As I said, it was important for HH to have all men standing in the final circle. They did try to prioritize that, and ultimately one man was more than enough for them to grab that winner chicken dinner.
Out of all this being done and dusted, the only mistake Team Enigma did was blindly pushing. I mean, why would you do such a big mistake at this point of time? You had all your three players surviving. Two players went down when Hyderabad Hydras managed to take two of them down. One player was already down. The other one, with the hope of taking them down, he just pushed once again, and that push did not work into his favor, and you really know what happened next. I mean, what do I say? I'm just falling out of words right now.
I mean, it was inevitable, right? When you're holding the center of the circle at shelter, even though you have hard cover, every time a player gets taken down, all you have to do is go inside the tunnel and heal yourself. So once that is going to be the blind spot for the oppositions to just rush in against you, because they'll be expecting, the enemies not to look at them when they're in hard cover. So that is what happened eventually. I really love the way, the side of Enigma was able to clear out everybody to the western side, to the eastern side of them. But ultimately from the northern side, when we were expecting HH to come in, I loved their patience. They came inside the circle. They did not want to peek. They knew that, the others are going to fight it out. But for me, that slithering snake, Yuva, who was behind, who came in and struck at the right time, he knew that the teams are going to concentrate on one last player. That was the biggest mistake. It was not necessary for the side of Enigma to rush in against one single player who had hard cover towards them. So if he had actually maintained that position, if Enigma had maintained the position whatever they had, it would have been easy dinner for them.
I completely agree with each and everything you just said right now, Arka. I mean, this map of Erangel has just completely turned the table around, and as I just have been repeating myself on this again and again. But I will say that once again, I mean, today's day, the decider day, just eventually is bringing up new faces. But there you go, the highlights are all set to your screen. Tactical Hitman, he just went into the dip for a moment, but I don't know why did he just had to pop his head off, and there he was just down to the ground. Team Nugget eventually got into the fight to the sides of Team Revenge. Well, Nugget was down to the ground, but Badshaw OP with that cover fire managed to take down. But what happened next was Team 8-Bit who just found them. Madman just going crazy as his name is, and eventually eliminated all of them.
Absolutely, but at the same time, the number of finishes 8-bit has gained over here is going to allow them to have a very good position in the overall points table. But Enigma, this was the time where they were burning a lot of their resources, and they knew that the crosshairs were working as as crisp as possible. OGs rush in at the wrong corner. That is when UDOG starts to strike against them. Even though there was one last man far away, it was very bad for them, because ultimately, if it had gone a little more to the right, that is when they were also getting tagged, and this was the fight which Yua had to pick up inside that tunnel. He knew that he had to stay as long as possible. Enigma, Kendi was the person who got eliminated from the first from their side, and that was the wrong move coming in from their side. Revenge on the other side rushed in. Everything was going in their favor until Black Ace started to execute the right kind of game.
I completely agree with that. See, this is the moment what we talk about, right? UOP was just holding back the position he has. Eventually, once again, he had the fake out. I would just say that the cover he worked around, but what happened next? This situation is something that was not really expected. Now you look at this. Ace Black has a great cover, has a great defense to work around with. Why would you push to a player that definitely has a great cover to work around with? That was the biggest mistake that was done. And
one big mistake.
Yeah, exactly. That was the one big mistake done, and that was the end of this map. Eventually, this is how the entire map of Erangel went. And to one more point, I just felt like the Mayavi, the entire day they were playing a pixel game. I mean, you just see them, they were just popping heads with pixel. But what happened? They just get played back with their pixels being visible. This is how this map went. But coming back to the star of the match, the players who have been highlighted right now are Kendi Undisi going all out for 5 finishes. Hyderabad Hydra, that's Ace Black, repeating twice for best companion as well as the final elimination.
I mean, I still want to go back and analyze the point where Black Ace was able to clutch it out, right? So he eliminated a player. The second player, Sagi, was trying to push in. The biggest mistake he did was going for a drop. He slept right behind the buggy. If he was having a moment, if he was trying to jiggle and take the shot, probably it would have been better. But on the other side, it was the opponent actually knew that this person is actually sleeping behind the buggy in a stable position. All I have to do is, jiggle around and then take that player down. And that went like a charm for the side of Black Ace, and he was able to clutch it out absolutely well. Where the third player, who was very, very far away, all he could do was have a divided attention between Yua as well as Black Ace. So, and we all know that it's going to be hard for him, because ultimately one player strikes, the other player will be able to make sure that, he also strikes at the same time. So that was the end of the story. But the final moment where Yua versus Black, I really thought that Yua will be able to pull it out, because he had a UMP in his hand. The recoil is pretty much in his favor, but ultimately he couldn't do that as well.
Well, yes, I do completely agree with that. This was everything about, the map of Erangel that we just witnessed. I mean, trust me, this map is really different. You talk about Erangel, we always say that this map is a classic map, but this map can just turn things around for each and every.
Turn tables as well.
Yeah, that's the most amazing part for the map of Erangel. We do say that Miramar is a complete open map. You need to be really pinpoint precise with everything that you do. But sometimes so is the situation for the map of Erangel as well.
Yep.
Classic map, you play it regularly, but so does the enemies. With that being said and done, it's time for a quick short break for us as a caster and for you as an audience. Go get your energy drinks. Pop up everything that you want. Pop up with all the energy. Boost yourself, because we do have the remaining 3 maps. So either that's going to be Arca and Raider meeting you on the other side.
on top. I'm ready to go. Feeling like a million eyes on me. I'm unstoppable. If you go against me, then you better compete. Yeah, yeah. Why you keep knocking at my door? Came to fight, yeah, that means war. Gotta level up, wanna settle the score. Yeah, feels a lot better than it did before. What you brand new, yeah, it's time to go pro. Go beast mode, better find a cheat code. On my throne, now I'm in my zone. Man, it looks better than it did before. I said if play don't stop, just do your thing, and you know you gon' be on top. That's my game, it's your game. Say it now, and let the whole world watch. I said if play don't stop, just keep it going, and you know you gon' be on top. It's my game, it's your game. Go ahead, let them talk. Play don't stop, just do your thing, and you know you gon' be on top. I'm ready to go. Feeling like a million eyes on me. I'm unstoppable. If you go against me, then you better compete. Yeah, yeah. Why you keep knocking at my door? Came to fight, yeah, that means war. Gotta level up, wanna settle the score. Yeah, feels a lot better than it did before. What you brand new, yeah, it's time to go pro. Go beast mode, better find a cheat code. On my throne, now I'm in my zone. Man, it looks better than it did before. I said if play don't stop, just do your thing, and you know you gon' be on top. That's my game, it's your game. Say it now, and let the whole world watch. I said if play don't stop, just keep it going, and you know you gon' be on top. It's my game, it's your game. Go ahead, let them talk. on top. I'm ready to go. Feeling like a million eyes on me. I'm unstoppable. If you go against me, then you better compete. Yeah, yeah. Why you keep knocking at my door? Came to fight, yeah, that means war. Gotta level up, I'ma settle the score. Yeah, feels a lot better than it did before. What you brand new, yeah, it's time to go pro. Go beast mode, better find a cheat code. On my throne, now I'm in my zone. Man, it looks better than it did before. I said the play don't stop, just do your thing, and you know you gon' be on top. It's my game, it's your game. Say it now, and let the whole world watch. I said the play don't stop, just keep it going, and you know you gon' be on top. It's my game, it's your game. Go ahead, let them talk.
Well. Hello and welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the AMD presents Esports GRANDSLAM with the gaming partner going to be Logitech and our broadcasting partner is Loco. This is semi-finale, the final D-Day. That's going to be day number 5 and me. My name is Raider and along with me, my co-caster is going to be Arka. So Arka, how are you about the break?
I mean, there were many thoughts running in my head, to be specific, in the break. Even though I was trying to chill and get a sip of water, there were many chances for many teams to actually do wonders in that game. Let's not forget the small mistakes done by the side of Team Enigma.
Yeah.
Let's not forget the right kind of patience being held from the side of Hyderabad Hydras. Then also let's not forget that the way he was able to clutch that out inside the ridges, inside that shelter, that was also really good.
Well, a number of fights were there, a number of pickoffs were there, and that was literally very interesting to watch. But eventually, now the battle is going to be very amplified because from tomorrow, the grand finale is going to start. And initially, let me remind you that which are the top 6 teams which are going to be there. Well, that's finals invited team are going to be, I guess that's Velocity, formerly known as IND, which were the champion of season 1. Then Soul is going to be the runner-up, and they were there right now. Godlike, the Skysports champions, 3.0 champions were Godlike, and they are also going to be invited. 7C being the runner-up are also going to be invited. Team TSM from the last event of Sky Sports, that was Mobile Open. The champions will be there, Gaming Esports, coming as runner-up, but surely but shortly going to chase the champions list of the Grand Slam.
Absolutely, with 6 strong teams already in the finale and the rest of them fighting out with one another, we can expect something really huge in the finale itself. I do not expect that, in the semi-finals itself, we'll be able to see such strong games coming in from each team. It looks like they're playing it like as if they're playing the final. So in the Grand Slam, the finale of the Grand Slam is going to be very huge. Ladies and gentlemen, do not forget, to subscribe to the channel here, as well as follow us on Loco as well. That is where you'll be able to catch up the rest of the games. For now, let's look at the teams which have tamed those chicken dinners. And first one is going to be Revenge out of nowhere, coming out and taking a revenge on the first map of the day. Celsius picked up the temperature. They did come up to such an extent they burnt out all the other teams and got that chicken dinner in the map of Miramar. The next comes the side of Hyderabad Hydras. In the previous game, patience gameplay actually paid off for them in the third game.
Of course, the patience, the consistency is something we are going to look after. Hyderabad Hydras, meanwhile, were going for that comeback coming up very, very soon, but they were unable to from last 2 days eventually. But yeah, they got that victory. It was very impressive one. Team Revenge, we eventually in the match number 1 got that unexpected chicken dinner. That was also very interesting. Team Celsius getting that winner chicken dinner in match number 2 of Miramar. Well, that was also interesting. Well, Hyderabad Hydras, meanwhile, securing our previous match. But guys, there we go. Now finally we are going to head out into the Battle of Miramar, and this is match number 4, and we are close to, let's say, the end of the day. What do you think about that, Arka?
This final 3 maps is going to be like a do or die situation for most of the teams from the 9th position to the 15th position, right?
Indeed.
So the most important thing for the teams on the top is to try to maintain that average of 5 to 6 points so that they do not lose the top position, whereas the first 2 teams have already cemented themselves in the next round in the finale. So it's important for the others to fight as much as possible, make sure that they outperform themselves first, because ultimately they have to do wonders. The Salters have to do wonders, the IGLs have to do wonders in predicting the zone as well. So when all of this is going to go in their favor, it's going to be easy for them to come into the top 10.
It might be easy for them at this point, but eventually the carnage which is going to be there, it's going to be very amazing. The pressure from past 4 days, the kind of let's say leaderboard shift which is going on in the lobby, it's going to be very amazing to watch. But eventually Team Orangutan, one of those teams which is maintaining their consistency, well, that's actually very impressive to watch. This is the first ever team to cross, let's say, the double century point. Then Team HAT also came back from the battle. Then Team Celsius gaining the points, Team Mayavi coming back and forth, Team 8-bit coming back and forth at this point, Team Insane from hashtag 11 to hashtag 8 and 10 back and forth. These teams are just trying to chase and trying to be in that gap which is there of top 10. Well, it's going to be very amazing to enjoy and watch which is going to be that team. But before that, let me remind you guys, the whole leaderboard is not going to be there for the rest of the day. So if you want to enjoy the leaderboard, if you want to see which are the top 10 teams which are going to qualify, make sure to follow us onto Skysports at Skysports GrandSlam onto Instagram, so that eventually the leaderboard will be there for you. But Arka, we have the flight path coming up. Let's enjoy the match.
Now, this flight path seems to be the same every now and then, trying to cross over Los Leones. The flight path, the zone, and Los Leones now love story. This triangle love story seems to always go in the favor of Los Leones, and that is why teams always choose to fall in over there. But this time, the story is a little different coming in from the side of Team HH. They're going to the complete northern side. They were the team who always wanted to go towards the side of Prison. Now, they've chosen the northeastern side of the map. I believe is one of the best place to start off the game. If you go towards the side of Campo and then try to loot up, there's going to be a lot of loot for 4 players. They can pick up, they can choose among